A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Is anybody?
There she is. That's Molly Goldberg, folks. A woman with a place in every heart and a finger in every pie. And now the makers of New Does. That new kind of soap for everything right down your wash line bring you another visit with those good folks, the Goldbergs. You know, it seems like I've been the cause of a lot of wash day arguments lately.
You certainly have.
Well, but really, I don't mean...
Did you or did you not say does everything in the wash?
Well, sure. I said Does is a new kind of soap for all three kinds of wash.
Oh, ridiculous. How can this one soap get grimy towels white
and dirty work shirts clean?
And still be really safe for my fussy rayon slips and nicer colored washables?
But that's the whole idea of Does. Why, you'll get lots more wear out of those rayons and nicer colored things by using this new soap. Because Does is lots safer for those precious colors. In fact, they stay bright far longer with Does than with any of the four other leading granulated soaps. And you know, this extra safety is important now when you want such clothes to last as long as possible.
Yes, I heard they're going to be hard to replace.
Sure, and that's why now more than ever you need the extra color care Does gives you.
But what about my white pieces?
Say, if it's whiteness you want, Does will suit you to a T. Because no soap made gets clothes whiter than Does. Why, your towels and sheets will come out so gleaming white you'll be proud of them. In fact, you've never seen more snowy white washes than Does gives you.
And you say it's grand for greasy overalls, too?
Why, sure. Does will get them wonderfully clean, without any hard scrubbing either. Why, you just tell me if you ever got cleaner clothes with so little work.
Well, it does certainly sound different, all right.
Well, of course, even the suds are different.
Well, how's that?
You'll find Does make stacks more suds in your machine. Suds that build up faster and last longer. So treat yourself to a new kind of wash day with this really new kind of granulated soap. Ask for Does, D-U-Z, today in that big red and white box. And next wash day, let Does do everything. And now the Goldbergs. His whole sense of security uprooted by his contradictory feelings, Sammy finally listened to his friend Mikey and asked Emma to leave. Now, this simple act is deeper than what shows on the surface, for Emma has artfully and deliberately involved herself in Sammy's life. And Sammy, stirred by his feelings, unable to think clearly, has been drifting down the path of Emma's intentions. Mikey tried to convince Sammy that every false act that Sammy excused was proof of Emma's selfish and self-centered character. But when no argument would sway Sammy, Mikey got him to promise that at least he would ask Emma to leave for a while. Sammy asked her, and she said no. Now it's morning of the next day, and there's news in the offing.
Morning, everybody. Who went for last night's mail?
Sammy, who went for last night's mail?
I don't know, Pa.
Good morning.
Good morning, Emma.
Who is it that nobody went for last night's mail?
All right, then some of you go.
Do you want your breakfast now, Sammy?
Emma, did you think about what I said last night?
No, because there was nothing to think about.
Who saw my blue tie?
Yes, I saw your blue tie. I'll give you your blue tie. What's this to do with the blue tie?
If you ask me to leave because you don't love me, then I would go. You love me, Sammy. Why should I go away? Because I don't please Mikey?
No, because I want a little time to think.
No, that's not your reason, no.
I don't love you, Emma. I want you to go.
Everybody knows the post office closed.
Come on, let's get out. We can't talk.
I have to fix the breakfast.
Ma, I'm going for the mail. Emma's going to walk down with me. She'll bring it back.
Where are you going, Sammy?
I'll be right back, Pa.
What?
Emma, come on.
Why don't you ask your mother if I should leave?
Come on, come on.
It would bore me.
Come on, please.
Sammy went out, Jake. He said he was going out. He went out. He went out.
I didn't shave this morning. How do I look?
Very well. Why didn't you shave?
Was the water hot?
I told you, Jake, our hot water schedule has changed.
All right. I'm not complaining. Don't give me a big breakfast. Just coffee and toast.
Couple eggs?
Neither.
Don't want your cereal?
Cooked.
No.
Flakes.
Dry.
Prunes.
I can't give you prunes.
Why not?
Just today I don't have prunes.
Orange juice.
I'll scream.
Never mind.
Wait, Jake, why are you so vice versa this morning?
Because if you ask Emma a question already, why didn't you get an answer?
Because the answer was sufficient for me. That's why. I asked her, do you like my, who's that? Huh?
Mike Machuchak.
Mike Machuchak? I'll go see. Oh, does Mike want? Maybe the baby's not well. Excuse me. I'll give you breakfast in a minute. What is this, Mike? What is this?
The mail? So what are you holding it?
Letter for Sammy.
From who?
Here.
You're going to sit and bite your nails, Molly.
So it came, Jake. At last, it's here.
All right, Molly.
So, the war came to us, Jake. Here in my kitchen.
It was always with us, Molly.
Always. No, Jake. For us, it was a nightmare in the newspapers. It was far away. It was a moving picture we were seeing that made us laugh or cry. But when we came home, Jake, it was our house and our bond.
It was with us before the letter, Molly.
The war came to us, Jake. It came with a stamp on it.
Molly, look at me. Who should know better than you that a heartache 1,000 miles away breaks our hearts here?
Would that I could go, Jake. Why should I and you and we, after all, Jake?
This war isn't just between an army on our side and an army on their side. It's the people on our side against the fascists on their side. That's all.
If there's people on our side, why can't we too, Jake? We with our hands and our flesh too. Why should it be the young ones? Why should it only be Sammy and Mike?
It's us too, Molly. For us, it's harder to stay behind the lines than to be in front of them.
I'm just coming. Give me the letter.
Here.
Come in the kitchen. Come in the kitchen. I'll take myself together. Come.
Oh, lay down, Sporty. Lay down. Ma?
Yeah? I'll be right in, Sammy.
Emma, you have to leave. We have to give ourselves a chance.
What kind of a chance do I need? Sam, the smallest crumb I get from you is more than I expect. Why should I have to leave?
Because I need the time. I need the chance to think. I have to find out what I am and what I want and what we, yes, you and I both have to expect from each other. Emma, I don't know what I feel now. I can't make any sense out of my feelings.
And if I stay, does that keep you from thinking?
Yes.
Then why think at all? Sammy, don't bother to think about your feelings when you have them. Let your feelings think for you.
No. We're young, Emma. I'm young and you're young. There's so much of life ahead. A life that's bigger and more complete than just the affection I have for you. We're like two children standing at the doorway. We've never been out of the house our parents built for us. And now I want to be sure where I'm going. I don't want to make a mistake now. I don't want you to make one either. That's why you have to leave. For a while, at least. We have to be apart until we know that the next time we come together, it's for the rest of our lives. Or else we shouldn't come together at all.
Let me stay, Sammy.
No, I can't, Emma. You mustn't. You shouldn't. I have to leave or you have to leave so that we can choose each other freely if we choose each other at all. Well, it's impossible for me to leave.
But, Sammy, everything can be as it is.
Well, Ma? Ma, Emma wants to tell you something.
Later, Ma.
No, Ma, it's
Jake.
A letter came for you, Sammy.
Here, Sammy.
It's about time.
When do you leave, Sammy?
In a few days.
Sammy has waited a long time for this hour, waiting for his application to be passed on and his orders to come through. Just how this will affect his private life that includes Emma is something that she and not he is going to settle. And she tries. You know, it's bad enough to have a lot of dishes to wash every day. There's no need to make matters worse by using those halfway soaps. I mean bar soaps because they don't give you real speed. Or those tough granulated soaps because they fall short on safety for your hands. Well, such halfway soaps are out of date now that new Does is here. Yes, Does, that amazing new kind of granulated soap for everything in your wash. And believe me, it has everything for dishes, too. From whirlwind speed to extra gentleness for your hands. Just notice how wonderfully smooth and nice your hands feel after doing dishes with Does. Why, not one of the 4 other leading granulated soaps can give your hands the extra care you get with Does. Yet you've never used a soap that gets dishes clean faster. Does cuts even tough grease without any hard scouring. Yes, just let those busy suds tell you how really new and different Does is. Try it today. Does has everything for dishes. Be sure to listen to the next episode of The Goldbergs. This is Clayton Collier wishing you good day for Procter & Gamble, makers of Does, the new kind of granulated soap for all 3 kinds of wash.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X.
minus 1.
Tonight, an original story by Ernest Kenoy. The time, early in the 21st century. The story, Martian Sam.
The whole thing started the first day of spring training. I'd gotten into camp 2 or 3 days before and started to loosen up a little. Because at my age, even batting fungos to an outfielder can tie your muscles up into knots. Although, as a matter of fact, I'd bet that I was in better condition than half the Humpty Dumptys on the club. We hadn't won a pennant since, 1997 or was it 98? And it looked like we had a permanent lease on 12th place. The Los Angeles Dodgers were in pretty sad shape, and that's the honest truth. I was standing behind the batting cage watching a couple of kids from our Tokyo farm team when Tommy Watson from the New York Times Tribune News caught me by the elbow.
Hi, Joe. Well, how's it look this spring?
Well, Tommy, the club has been considerably improved. Mm-hmm. Several of the youngsters are ready to deliver this year, and, of course, we expect sterling performances from our veterans. Is that what you want?
Oh, come on now, Joe, come off it. Has old man Castle loosened up enough to buy a catcher?
Not that I know of.
Well, how about a left-handed pitcher?
Well, they're those 2 boys from Tokyo.
Oh, come on, they couldn't throw a cream puff across the dining room table. Well, how does it feel to be first base coach for a team that'll clinch last place by July 4th?
You're very kind, Tommy. Very kind.
I just hate to see that old tightwad Castle run this club into the ground. I remember my father used to tell me about the times way back, when they were still in Brooklyn. And I can remember going down to Robinson Stadium when I was a kid to watch doubleheaders with the Denver Giants. Now look at them. A bunch of overage bums and a few kids who could hardly make the high school team. And all Castle's money goes to buy sports rockets for that screwball son of his. Oh, Joe, baseball isn't what it used to be.
The sad truth of the matter was that Tommy was putting it mild. Old man Castle, the owner, begrudged every nickel that was spent on the ball club. I don't think anybody had gotten a raise in the last 5 years. The manager was old Rabbit Cinderella. And Castle used to issue statements every year about how he had great faith in him. Truth of the matter was that Rabbit would work for less than any other manager this side of the Sally League. You'll see what I mean when I tell you that the club traveled in an old 4-jet Strato rocket like some barnstorming semi-pro team. I was in the locker room looking down at my feet to avoid looking around at what passed for ball players on this Los Angeles Dodgers when Rabbit came up to me.
Joe.
Yeah?
Get your pants on and come into the office.
Oh, what's the matter?
Never mind. Come on.
Okay. Listen, Rabbit. What are we going to do about a left-handed pitcher?
Later. Joe, I had an idea. I thought we could take one of the right-handers and sew the letter backwards across his shirt, and maybe that'd fool the other club.
Yeah.
Come on inside.
Or maybe we ought to disguise Iron Mike, the batting practice robot.
All right, that's enough. Joe, the old man's dead.
What?
I said he's dead, old man Castle. Heart attack. I figured we had him scared so he'd loosen up a little dough for players, and then he goes and does this to us. Can't trust nobody.
Well, who gets the club?
His son.
What, you mean Whistling Willie Castle, the Jetstream playboy?
That's who.
But he doesn't know anything about a ball club.
He doesn't have to. Old man Castle owns 72% of the stock. And it all goes to Willie.
Well, what's going to happen?
Beats me. Probably sell us all out and buy a new rocket.
Is he here?
It was in the Earth-Moon small boat race when it happened. They got a message to him when he hit the direct beam off Lunaport. He could have landed and taken the shuttle back and made it in 1 day. But he was leading in the race, so he just kept going. He's due in a couple hours.
You think you can get him to go for a left-handed pitcher?
I don't know. We'll have to try.
Of course, you've heard of Willie Castle. About once a year, he cracks up some expensive sports rocket or gets himself picked up in a survival suit by the IP, floating somewhere in an orbit around the moon. He almost got put away a couple of years ago when he took a debutante up in a Harrison Kilgore cruiser and kept her in orbit for 2 months. The old man was able to kill the abduction charges by claiming that they'd been married at the time. And one time when the old man had a couple of us up at the lodge he lives in during spring training, I saw the kid's room. It was filled with Marak heads that he'd shot on safaris on Mars. He came down to the training camp a week later. He buzzed over in a Harley Donaldson atmospheric and set the ship down in the hole between second and third, burning out half the infield. I saw Rabbit get him to one side and start talking fast, so I sneaked over and listened.
Well, Mr. Castle, of course, you know, we're all very sorry about your father's death. And
He had it coming, the old tightwad.
Oh, well, I see.
I couldn't convince him that a credit isn't any good to you, stuffed in a mattress. You got to spend, isn't that right?
Yeah, it is. As a matter of fact, that's what I wanted to see you about. Now, there's a boy in one of the Milwaukee farm clubs, a left-handed pitcher. I can get him for about $30,000 and a couple of players. And
what do you mean?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right, Mr. Castle. You got to spend money. And if we could get a little help in pitching and maybe an outfielder or two...
You mean spend money for baseball players?
Well, yeah. That was what I had in mind.
Now, wait a minute. This baseball team was my father's hobby, like some old men collect stamps or play checkers. Now, in the terms of the will, I can't sell it. But I'm sure not going to throw any good money away on something foolish like baseball players.
Oh, I see.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to need all the cash I can lay my hands on.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've got a chance to buy a 3-pile nuclear eraser that'll cut 2 weeks off the round trip to Mars.
Oh, I see. You wouldn't want to spend money on anything as foolish as ball.
That's it. You've got the idea now. Oh, by the way, Mr. Cinadilla.
Yeah?
I find it's quite embarrassing to me to have my friends continually make fun of me because the Dodgers are in last place.
Well, as a matter of fact, that gets to be a touchy point with me, too.
Well, I'd like to see it change. So if you don't mind, would you please have them somewhere in a more respectable position, say third or second, within a month or two?
Now, look here, Mr. Castle. I can't make bricks without straw. You won't spend the credit for a ball player, and I can't...
You do your best.
Well, after that interview with the new owner, Rabbit went out and tied one on, and I had to run the ball club for 2 days till we got him straightened out. But I can't say as I blamed him. We won one game in the Grapefruit League. We played the Jacksonville High School team and squeaked out a 13-12 victory. What the Yankees and Braves did to us, I'd rather not say. We opened the season at home, and a mediocre pitcher for Pittsburgh threw a no-hitter at us. Actually, that's not quite accurate. The truth is he just pitched, and we didn't hit anything. We lost 10 straight from opening day, and we didn't lose on the 11th day because it rained. Rabbit and me piled into his 97 copter and flew out to the Castle Estate up near Arrowhead. I was in pretty bad shape. For one thing, Rabbit's copter has a wobble, and I was feeling green around the gills by the time we dropped down on the port. Willie Castle was very excited by the time we finally got to see him. He was puttering around a whole mess of stuff piled up in the middle of the floor.
Say, how do you like this? Isn't it exciting?
Yeah. What is it?
It's a Durgo stick.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And they use it in Mars in a game played between two villages. You see, all the men on one side line up, and then all the men on the other side try to knock them over with these sticks. Isn't it a beauty?
Yeah. Look, Mr. Castle, I got to speak to you. We got to have a left-handed pitcher.
Oh. You mean for the baseball team?
Yeah, that's right, the baseball team. That's what we got to have a left-handed pitcher for. Yeah.
Well, now, I can't really be bothered with details of that sort. I'm leaving for Mars in the morning. Oh, by the way, I haven't had a chance to look at the standings recently. How are we doing?
Mr. Castle, we may well set them out on record for consecutive games lost. Now, look here. You told me you can't sell the club. And you said you get tired of your friends kidding you about being last. Well, take it from me, Mr. Castle, and I know. Unless we get some ball players on that club, it's going to be last for the next 22 years.
Now, look here, Cinadilla,
I know you can fire me, but I don't care who you hire as manager. Unless you get him a left-handed pitcher and a couple of other players, that club is going to stay last.
Oh. Oh, well, then I'll see what I can do. Don't worry about it.
What do you mean, don't worry about it? I got to go out there every day and try to make those bums go through the motions.
Now, look, I really have to pack. And besides, I'm expecting a new shipment of equipment from Aberfitch and Comby. Now, just don't worry about it. I'll think of something. Goodbye.
Next day, we lost a doubleheader to Cincinnati by a score faintly reminiscent of basketball. And that's the way it went. Oh, we won a couple here and there. Like they say, you can't lose them all. About the middle of the season, we were so far behind that the local papers just dropped us off the standings, didn't even bother to report it. It was about this time that Willie Castle returned from Mars. He came out to see us at the ballpark just before the massacre.
Well, I noticed, Mr. Cinnadilla, that we're still in last place.
Yeah, Mr. Castle, we are. We are lucky we are still in the league. With the ball players that you've given me.
Well, I just wanted to tell you that I made a small bet with one of the boys at the country club.
Yeah?
Yes. I bet 1,000,000 credits that we'd win the pennant this year.
That's nice.
You don't seem to understand. I expect to win that bet.
Yeah, sure. And I expect to put on a Monroe suit and win the Miss Universe title.
I told you to leave everything to me. Now, I'd like you to come into my office, if you please. I have a few things I'd like to talk over with you. For one thing, I've signed a ball player.
You what? Oh, look here, Mr. Castle. This I got a complaint about. My contract is clear. No ball player gets signed without my okay.
Just come into my office, please. I'll explain everything.
That night, when Rabbit went up to the plate to hand in the starting lineups, I could tell something was happening. For one thing, old Baldy Snuff, the umpire, was looking at the card like it was written in Arabic.
All right, who's the pitcher?
It's written right there in the card.
Ceramo Castro Perbaco.
What's the matter? Can't you read?
Oh, come on now. You kidding? Is he Armenian?
Nope. Martian.
Martian?
That's right. Martian.
Of course, the riot didn't really start until our pitcher got out on the mound. Fred Kurtz, the Milwaukee manager, came running out like he'd been shot from a jet. Baldy Snuff was hollering. The whole Milwaukee bench was looking for a fight, but Rabbit just stood there quiet and calm.
He can't do that. He can't do that. Look at that thing. What is that?
That's my pitcher. We call him Sam.
But you can't play with that. That ain't a ball player. That isn't even a human being.
What are you trying to pull, Rabbit?
Listen, I got my rights. I sign them legal. Here's the contract.
But now look here, Rabbit. You can't get away with that. That thing's only about 2 feet high.
18 inches, as a matter of fact.
But how's he going to pitch? He hasn't even got any arms.
Sure he has. He's got it curled up. Hey, Sam, wind up.
But that arm,
it's 32 feet long.
That ain't legal. You're going to let him get away with that?
Oh, there's one other thing. On the end of that arm, look, you see? That's his eye.
Rabbit, I'm going to punch you right in the nose.
Now, take it easy, Kurtz. Take it easy.
Look, I got the papers all here. I've got the United Nations Concordat with the Marshall Colonial Government, a Supreme Court decision in the case of Schultz versus Karawa, Kalpabal, Kalfitz, et al. It's legal. Any Martian citizen is entitled to the same legal rights and privileges as a citizen of Earth. And among those is the right to play ball in a national league.
I protest again. I forfeit the game. Rabbit, I'm going to punch you right in the nose.
As a matter of fact, the game that night was postponed because of riot. The next morning, everybody met in the commissioner's office, and sure enough, it was legal. Martian Sam, we come to call him, was a legally signed player for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I told you not to worry. I found Sam in a village just north of Marsport. He's a klugel hunter.
A what?
A klugel hunter. Klugels are fast little animals that run about 80 miles an hour, and the hunters go out and throw rocks at them and kill them. Sam's a klugel hunter. He ought to be a pretty good pitcher.
How about the other clubs? What happens if they get klugel hunters?
Oh, they won't. You see, it's basically contrary to Martian psychology. They won't ever leave their own villages.
Then how come Sam left?
Well, it was an unfortunate accident, really. You see, when I first met him, I gave him a stick of chewing gum.
Yeah?
Well, he got hooked.
What do you mean, hooked?
Well, for Martians, the chicle seems to be habit-forming. Sam is a gum addict. Well, naturally, as soon as this was discovered, the traffic was prohibited. There's a death penalty for importing of chewing gum to Mars. But it was too late for Sam, so he came out with me.
You mean all we got to do is keep him supplied with chewing gum?
That's right. I told you I'd take care of it, didn't I? Now you've got your left-handed pitcher.
Sam pitched that night. He struck out 27 batters, and we won 3-0. Horse Kelly, the catcher, had a little trouble at first, but he soon figured out how to get around it. He'd just hold his mitt up and close his eyes, and when he heard a thunk, he'd reach in and pull the ball out and throw it back to Sam. You can imagine what it was like being a batter up there against Sam. Pitcher's mound is only 60 feet away from the plate as it is. And with Sam's 32-foot arm, well, we didn't lose the game the rest of the season. Of course, we started out so far behind that by the last game of the season, we were tied with the Milwaukees, and we were playing them at Milwaukee. The winner of this game won the pennant. Of course, it was a lead pipe cinch for us. Martian Sam had pitched every day since he joined the club. He looked real cute out on a mound, standing 18 inches high in his little Dodgers uniform and in that long 32-foot arm. We had taken a finished batting practice at Milwaukee County Stadium, and I was standing next to Willie Castle's box talking to him.
Well, it looks like I won't have to be embarrassed about owning the Los Angeles Dodgers anymore, eh?
That's right. With Sam pitching, that means we win the pennant and the series.
Well, I think that's very nice. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking of taking the whole team on a barnstorming tour through Mars after the series is over.
Hey, Joe! Oh, Mr. Castle.
Well, what's the matter?
It's Sam.
Well, what's the matter? Is anything wrong with him? Did he get his chewing gum?
Yeah, he got his chewing gum, but he's just lying on the floor in the locker room moaning.
He is? We better get a doctor.
Yeah, and all those scales keep falling off him.
Oh, no.
What's the matter?
I know what it is.
What?
It's the molting season. All the scales will fall off. It'll take him a week to grow new scales.
But he can pitch, can't he?
No, he can't. Any violent movement will bring on great pain.
Well, there goes the ball game. Martian Sam can't pitch. We're dead.
Rabbit put it mild. We were good and dead. We pitched Harry Kosnowski, our best human pitcher, but our best human pitcher was none too good. He rose to the occasion, however, and the score was tied going into the last half of the ninth.
That's the way, Harry, old boy. That's the way. Pour it in. Come on, Harry. You can do it, baby.
Unfortunately, he couldn't. He hit a streak of wildness and walked 3 straight men. Things were very quiet in the Dodgers' dugout. One more walk would force him to run, the ball game would be over. Then as we all sat there staring out at the mound where Harry was sweating, we heard a little shuffling noise.
Oh, what's that? Sam, what are you doing out here?
And then with the little squeaks that he used for talking, Sam told us what he wanted to do. He wanted to pitch.
But, Sam, you can't. You're molten. Your scales.
All right, Sam, all right. If that's the way you want it, you get out there. You pitch that one batter. It's 2 out. You strike him out, it'll go to extra innings, and we'll win the ball game. So Martian Sam trudged out to the pitcher's mound, his tiny legs lagging with great pain. You could just tell the little guy was hurting bad.
Now pitching for Los Angeles, Martian Sam.
We knew that Sam could do it now. We only had to face one batter and we'd get our chance again. Horse threw the ball out to him, and Sam stood there, his eye on the end of his 32-foot arm, blinking with pain.
All right, batter up. Let's get a batter in there.
The umpire called for the batter, and nobody came out of the Milwaukee dugout.
Hey, come on, let's go. Hey, Kurtz, get a man up in there.
What's the matter, Baldy?
Let's get a batter in there. You're delaying the game.
What do you mean I'm delaying the game?
You get a batter up there.
But I got a batter up there.
What do you mean? There's nobody in the batter's box.
Baldy, I got a contract here for you to read.
What are you talking about?
Here. Read it.
Well, of course, everybody knows what happened. The Milwaukee Braves had signed an intelligent virus from the moons of Jupiter. He was up there in the batter's box, but of course you couldn't see him without an electron microscope. He walked on 4 straight pitches, forcing in a run, and the Milwaukees won the pennant. But like I say, that's baseball. You can't win them all.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Time in the Round by Fritz Leiber, the story of a dictator who suffered more than any dictator in history. He was so puny, and his victims were so impregnable. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Martian Sam, an original story written for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Mandel Kramer as Joe, Santos Ortega as Rabbit, Ivor Francis as Willie, Jack Orison as Baldy, Bob Hastings as Tommy, and Bill Zuckert as Kurtz. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production. Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, Something for Nothing by Robert Sheckley.
I woke up when I thought I heard a voice. But I must have been mistaken because there was no one in my room. There was the same network of cracks in the muddy yellow ceiling and the same water dripping slowly and mournfully through from the roof. I'd seen it 100 times before, the worst room in a cheap hotel. But then, when I swung my feet onto the floor, I saw it. It was a machine on the floor. It hadn't been there when I went to sleep the night before. It was about 3 feet square, and it was humming softly. The crackled gray surface was featureless, except for a red button in one corner and a brass plate in the center. I leaned in closer and read the marking. Class A Utilizer, Series AA1256432. Warning, this machine should be used only by Class A ratings. Hey, where did you come from? A utilizer, huh? What do you utilize? No switches, no knobs, just one red button. Okay, we'll give it a try. Here goes the button. All right, what happens now? Little green men drop from the ceiling? Okay, we'll push it again. Oh, come on, do something. Guess I'll have to pawn it. Unless Charlie will give me $1 for the metal for junk. Boy, it's heavy. Can't even get the corner off the floor. They should have sent me somebody to help.
Where do you want it, Mac?
Hey! Where did you come from?
Come on. We haven't got all day. Where do you want it? Lucky it's one of the small ones. The big models up roots to get a grip on.
Who are you?
Moving man. What do I look like? Queen of the May?
But where did you come from? You just appeared in the room. What are you doing here?
I'm from the Power Vinyl Movers Incorporated, and I came because you wanted movers. That's why. Now, where do you want it?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Look, you go away. I'll call for you later.
Okay, Mac. It's your problem.
Utilizer, huh? Utilizer. Well, I don't know where you came from, but I know what you are. You're a wishing machine. I suppose most people would be shocked if a wishing machine suddenly showed up in their room. But not me. Most of my life has been spent wishing, hoping, praying that something marvelous would happen to me. In high school, I dreamed of waking up some morning with an ability to know my homework without having to do it. In the Army, I used to wish for some witch to change my orders, put me in charge of the day room instead of forcing me to do close order drill like everyone else. Out of the Army, I avoided work. You see, I'm kind of psychologically unsuited for it. I just drifted around hoping some fabulously wealthy person would for some reason change their will and leave me everything. I never really expected anything to happen, but now it did. All right, machine, let's go. I'd like $1,000 in small unmarked bills. There it is. How about that? 5 pence. They're all dirty. Just perfect. Okay, here's what I'll do. I'll get the machine out of New York. Maybe upstate someplace where I won't be bothered by nosy neighbors. I got a lot of problems on the income tax with this sort of thing. Well, maybe I get organized and I'll go to Central America. Hey, what's happening? There's a hole opening up in the wall. What? Somebody's trying to get through to me. The owner of the machine, he's trying to get it back. The hole's getting bigger. Hey, utilizer! Protect me!
Sanisar Leak, Temporal Wall Protection Service. What can I do for you?
That man coming through the wall, get rid of him! Get rid of him! He's almost through!
Oh, take it easy now. There's plenty of time. Let me see. Where did I put that unit?
There's his head!
Wait a minute. You don't understand. Now, wait.
Well, that takes care of him. Anything else?
Did you kill him?
Of course not. I just veered him back through his glommage. He won't try that way again.
Well, you mean he'll try some other way?
It's possible. He could attempt a microtransfer or even animation. Say, this is your utilizer, isn't it?
Of course. Sure it is, of course.
Then you're an A rating?
Naturally. If I wasn't, what would I be doing with a utilizer?
Oh, no offense. Just being friendly. Well, how you A's get around. I suppose you've come back here to do a history book.
Well, I'm really not permitted to say. You understand, don't you?
Oh, of course. I'll be on my way. One call after another, night and day. I'd be better off in a quarry. Bye.
There I was alone with the machine with $1,000 in small bills scattered around the floor. Those A ratings, whoever they were, had it pretty good. Want something, just ask for it. Press the button. Well, the next few days marked a great change in my fortunes. With the aid of the power vinyl movers, I took the utilizer to upstate New York. There I bought a medium-sized mountain in a neglected corner of the Adirondacks. And once the papers were in my hands, I walked to the center of my properties, several miles from the highway, with the men from the moving companies sweating behind me, carrying the utilizer. On all sides, as far as I could see, were closely spaced forests of birch and pine. The air was sweet and damp. Birds were chirping merrily in the treetops. An occasional squirrel darted by. I always loved nature. This would be the perfect spot to build a large, impressive house with swimming pool, tennis courts, and possibly a small airport. So I pushed the button.
Yes, sir. Can I be of service?
I want a house.
Well, yes, sir, but you really must be more specific. Do you want something classic, like a bungalow, ranch, split-level, mansion, castle, or palace? Or primitive, like an igloo or hut? Since you're an A, you could have something up to the minute, like a semi-face, an extended new, or a sunken miniature.
I don't know. What do you suggest?
A small mansion. They usually start with that.
They do?
Oh, yes. Later, they move to a warm climate and build a palace. Shall we start immediately?
Oh, yeah, sure. Fine. Start immediately. I wanted to ask a couple more questions, but I decided against it. Everything was going too smoothly. These people thought I was an A and the true owner of the utilizer. There wasn't any sense in disenchanting them. The rest of the day, I reclined on a couch and drank iced beverages while the Maxim Ulf Construction Company materialized the equipment and put up my house.
Well, now, there you are, sir. Modest, low-slung affair with 20 rooms. Built only of the best materials from the design of Megiv Degma. Interior by Toeg, Mueller swimming pool, and formal gardens by Varian. It's really the latest thing. With your permission, we'll include a complete layout on it in Galactic House and Gardens.
By evening, it was completed, and the small army of workmen packed up their equipment and then vanished. I allowed my chef to prepare a light supper for me. And afterwards, I sat in my cool living room to think the whole thing over. In front of me, humming gently, sat the utilizer. I ordered cigars. Havana. I wonder what's behind it all. Of course, it can't be supernatural. There are no demons or devils in this. My house was built by regular, ordinary human beings. They swore and laughed and cursed like human beings. The utilizer was simply a scientific gadget, which worked on principles that I didn't understand or care to understand. Could it have come from another planet? Not likely. They wouldn't have learned English just for me. And so I decided that the utilizer must have come from the Earth's future. But how? Well, accidents will happen. Why couldn't the utilizer have just slipped back into the past and ended up in my room? What a wonderful future it must be. Wishing machines. How marvelously civilized. All a person has to do is think of something, presto, and there it is. Of course, I had to watch my step. There was still the owner and the rest of the A's. They'd probably try to take the machine away from me. A sudden movement caught my eye. I looked up. The utilizer was quivering. As I walked towards it, a faint mist of steam came out of it. Must be overheating, maybe a bucket of water. Then I noticed it was becoming smaller. It was no more than 2 feet square and shrinking before my eyes. The owner, perhaps the A's, are causing a micro-transfer that Leak had talked about. I had to do something quickly. I pushed the button. Leak Protection Service.
Well, now look here. I was on my way to the golf course. Must I be disturbed every time?
Do something. Look at it. It's shrinking. It's getting smaller. It's getting hot. Do something.
Well, there's nothing I can do. Temporal wall is all I'm licensed for. You want the micro-control people. Bye.
Wait a minute. Come back. It's getting hot. It's getting smaller. I'll press the button again. Micro-control.
With whom do you wish to make an appointment?
Get me help, fast. Look, the utilizer is growing smaller. They're micro-transferring it.
Well, Mr. Vernon is out to lunch. He's disowned himself. I can't reach him.
Well, who can you reach?
Well, Mr. Vierce is in the D continuum, and Mr. Elgis is doing field work in Paleontic Europe. If you're really in a rush, maybe transfer point control. They're a smaller unit.
All right. Transfer point control. Ow! That button's hot. I gotta push it. Gotta push that button. Transfer point control.
Well, what can I do for you? Just a minute. I'll take care of that. There you are. Got just in time, didn't I? Ain't fancy, but we're all reliable.
My hand, my finger, it's burned. Can you do something?
Who, me? Nope, not my department. Do one thing, do it well, I always say. Bye.
My finger, it's burned. Push the button again. Fix me up. Fix my finger. That's better. Much better. The owner of the utilizer didn't try anything for at least a week. But I found that my mansion in the woods had been the wrong thing to do. I had to hire a platoon of guards to keep away sightseers, and hunters insisted on camping in my formal gardens. Also, the Bureau of Internal Revenue began to take a lively interest in my affairs. And so with the aid of the Power Vinyl Movers and the Maxima Oath Construction Company and the Jankston Instantaneous Travel Bureau and a good deal of money placed in the proper hands, I moved to a small Central American republic. And there, since the climate was warmer and the income tax non-existent, I built a large, airy, ostentatious palace. It came equipped with the usual accessories: horses, dogs, peacocks, servants, musicians, bevies of dancing girls, and everything a palace should have. I spent 2 weeks just exploring the place. One morning, I went up to the utilizer with the vague intention of asking for a sports car, or perhaps a small herd of pedigreed cattle. But as I bent over the gray machine and reached for the red button... Hey, where are you going? Hey, you can't move. You weigh a ton. Hold still so I can push the button. Hey, come back here. It's animation, that's what it is. Hey, come back here. I gotta push the button and get some kind of help. Hey, machine, stop. Back into the corner. There we go. Here we are. Careful. Can't let it get through the door. One side, a little dot. There. Animation control. Wow. That was close. I can't take any more chances. I better do some big wishing now while I still have the chance. All right, pay attention here, machine. I'll have $5 million, 3 functioning oil wells, a motion picture studio, perfect health, 25 more dancing girls, immortality, a sports car, and a herd of pedigreed cattle. What is it? What happened? The utilizer. It's gone. Where is it? Wait a minute. What happened to me? I'm gone, too. Where am I?
Oh, it's perfectly all right, sir. You can open your eyes now.
Where am I? What happened? I was in my room. Where am I now? Where's the utilizer?
Oh, it's been returned to stock.
Wait a minute. You're the one that tried to come through the wall. You're the owner.
Won't you have a chair?
Well, I guess it's all over, isn't it? The A's finally caught me. Well, it was glorious while it lasted.
Cigarette?
No. Well, you got your machine back now. What else do you want?
My machine? Well, it's not my machine, sir. Not at all.
Oh, don't try to kid me, mister. UA ratings want to protect your monopoly, don't you?
My name is Flynn. I'm an agent for the Citizens Protective Union, a non-profit organization whose aim is to protect individuals such as yourself from errors of judgment.
You mean you're not one of the A's?
Well, you're laboring under a misapprehension, sir. The A rating does not represent a social group as you seem to believe.
You mean it's not an aristocracy, a hereditary...
Oh, goodness, no. An A rating is merely a credit rating.
A what?
A credit rating. Well, now, you haven't got much time, so I'll make this as brief as possible here. You're quite correct, sir, that this is the future, as you put it. Ours is a decentralized age, sir. Our businesses, industries, and services are scattered throughout an appreciable portion of space and time. Now, the utilization corporation that produces the utilizer is an essential link. It provides for the transfer of goods and services from point to point. Do you understand?
Well, yeah. I get it.
Well, credit, of course, is an automatic privilege. But eventually, well, everything must be paid for.
Paid for? Hey, nobody said anything about paying. What are you talking about?
Well, now, of course, you certainly couldn't have expected to be provided with all these services without paying.
Well, why didn't somebody stop me? They must have known I didn't have a proper rating.
Oh, credit ratings are suggestions, not laws. In a civilized world, an individual has the right to his own decision. I'm very sorry, sir. Now, would you care to look at this bill and tell me whether it's in order?
Bill? What bill?
For all the services that you ordered from the utilizer. There they are. There's one palace with accessories, credit $450 million. Services Maxima Alt Movers, 111,000 credits. 122 dancing girls, 1,222,000. Perfect Health, 8,882,422. Well, there's a whole list of them here. The total comes to slightly less than 18 million credits.
Hey, wait a minute. I can't be held to this. The utilizer just dropped into my room by accident.
Well, that's the very fact I'm going to bring to their attention.
What's going to happen to me?
Oh, it's already happened. You've been adjudged through bankruptcy court. Good luck. Goodbye.
Huh? Where am I? What happened? Where is this place?
All right, buddy, on your feet.
Who are you?
On your feet, Mac. Here, take this.
What is it?
It's a pick. And over there is a quarry where you and I and a couple of others are going to cut marble.
Marble?
Sure. There's always some idiot who wants a palace. You better get working now, boy. They'll hand you a touch of that electronic whip.
What do you mean?
You'll find out. You can call me Jang. We'll be together for some time.
How long?
You work it out. The rate is 50 credits a month until your debt is paid off.
They can't do this to me. It's all a mistake. It was their fault they left the machine. They let it slip into the past. It's all a mistake.
It's no mistake. They're short of labor. They don't want to go recruiting all over for it. Come on. After the first 1,000 years, you won't mind it.
The first 1,000 years? I won't live that long.
Sure you will. You got immortality, didn't you?
Oh, that's right. That's right, I wished for it just before they took back the machine.
Sure you did.
Hey, wait a minute. That bill that Flynn showed me. I didn't see immortality on that bill. How much did they charge me for immortality?
Oh, don't be naive, pal. You should have figured it out by now. Naturally, they give that away for nothing. Now grab your pick. Let's go.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Founding Father by Clifford D. Simak, the story of a man whose job was to be first in the hearts of his countrymen, if he ever managed to find them. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Something for Nothing, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Robert Sheckley and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in our cast were Joseph Julian as Joe, with Danny Acco, Jock McGregor, John Gibson, Wendell Holmes, Ralph Bell, and Karen Ford. Fred Collins speaking. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Scanning the globe ever watchful, the NBC Radio News Department maintains a 24-hour vigil on the world. From the UN, from Washington, from the Middle East, NBC Radio newsmen are on the beam, reporting the news from where it happens, as it happens. Every minute of the day, news streams into the NBC newsroom, is sifted and evaluated. Every 60 minutes, the most important stories are broadcast to you by top commentators like Chet Huntley, David Brinkley, and Alex Dreyer on News on the Hour. And when the hot stories break, you get them in a flash on Hotline. It's like having a seat in the NBC Radio newsroom. Listen for News on the Hour and the exclusive Hotline service all day, every day on most of these stations.
At last, the Gregory party have escaped from the magic island of Euclidia. After searching around the world 14 years for her little daughter Joan, Mrs. Gregory found her on the magic island, a weird colony of brilliant though mad scientists. Mrs. Gregory's yacht was captured and held at the island, with Captain Bradford, Jerry Hall, and the crew all prisoners. Then another boat with Johnson, trusted employee of Mrs. Gregory in command, attempted to rescue them, and this boat was also captured. Through the efforts of Jerry and Joan, most of the island machinery was disabled, and the party escaped just after dark. It is only a few minutes since the powerful diesel-motored cruiser swept away from the island, and Mrs. Gregory, Captain Tex Bradford, Jerry Hall, and Joan Gregory talk it over in the radio cabin.
I'm quite all right now, Mother dear.
Now, Joan, your feet are terribly cut up from climbing that concrete chute, and you're dripping wet. Please come into my cabin and put on some dry clothes.
Your mother's right, Joan. Take her in, Pat, and dress those feet a little. Then with some warm, dry clothes on, she can come back here and we'll compare notes.
That's right, Joan. You'd better go in and change your clothes.
Very well, Jerry, if you say so.
See there, Mrs. Gregory? She does just what I tell her.
I can't really blame her for that, Jerry. You and Joan certainly proved you could take care of yourselves when you got us off that mad island. Come, Joan, dear. We'll only be a moment.
Hurry back, Joan. Oh, Buster, we can't tell our story pretty soon.
Oh, we will hurry, Jerry.
Gee, Tex, Joan's a swell girl. I wish you could have seen her climbing up that concrete thing we had to crawl through for 50 feet.
Yes, I can see your feet now, kid. And I've got a pretty good idea what it must have been like. We'll just put a little dressing on.
Oh, my feet are all right.
Well, maybe, but they'll be mighty sore tomorrow when the excitement is all over. Now, just sit still and let me fix you up.
Oh, well, all right. Gee, but we sure saw things and did things on that funny island. Why, when we were down there, and ouch!
Thought those feet weren't sore.
Well, maybe they are. Oh, maybe they're a little tender.
Yes, I thought so. Now, I'll have this dressing on in a minute. And that salve will help a lot. Then you get into some dry clothes.
Oh, golly whiskers. I don't need any dry clothes.
Yes, you do. Now, that'll hold those feet for a while. Now, you get over there and put on that old sweater and pair of pants of mine. It may not fit any too well, but they'll be dry anyhow.
Okay, Tex. I guess that would be smart.
I'm going to try and raise Johnson and tell him we're away from the island and free to talk now. From what you and Jones said about conditions on the island, we ought to be safe from any danger of pursuit for several hours.
Well, I'll keep wrapping these pants of yours around me. Maybe I'll find some way to get them tied off so they'll stay up.
All right, son. Now I'll try for Johnson. J24Y. Calling J12C. Captain Bradford on J24Y to Johnson. Hello, Johnson. Hello, J12C. Trying to save my power. Call me if you're getting this signal. J24Y to J12C.
He doesn't answer very fast.
Well, I don't know what kind of set he's got to work with on that boat he's on now. Probably a freighter with a regular radio operator, and he'll call Johnson to the mic when he gets a chance.
Here we are again.
Yes, and do I not look nice in Mother's dress?
Oh, you're a knockout, Joan.
Oh, Jerry, you look so funny.
Oh, they're the captain's pants. You made me put them on.
Oh, they look all right, Jerry.
Yeah, they must.
Don't worry about the looks, Jerry. They're warm and dry, and if you don't have to run very fast, I guess they'll stay on.
Well, golly whisker.
Now, Jerry, do not be angry. You look very nice to me.
And a baby?
Oh, Jerry, how often have I told you that
You are not a baby. Oh, I know.
That sounds natural.
And now that we have a few minutes with nothing to do but wait and see how far our fuel will carry us, suppose we try to straighten out some of the things which happened to us.
Well, Jerry and I can tell our experiences very quickly, but first we would like to hear what happened to you and the captain while we were down inside the island.
Yeah, when Joan and I left the yacht, you were just transferring the stuff to this boat.
Well, we completed the transfer through the holes in the hulls of the two boats and waited on the yacht until it was dark. Then we all went into the radio cabin. It was lined with Euclidean cloth, remember? It was perfectly soundproof.
Yeah, we know that. But how did you get from the yacht to this boat when the time came?
We knew that the Euclideans would have a guard on the pier watching the yacht. And we were afraid they knew that you two were down inside the island. So we tried to make it appear you were on the yacht.
They knew where Jerry and I were most of the time, though the alarm gong did ring frantically from one level to another as they tried to locate us when we were escaping.
There, Tex, didn't I tell you those bells meant they were chasing Jerry and Joan from one level to another?
Looks like you were right, Pat. Well, we knew we had to get on this boat to make our escape. And so when it was dark, we cut through the floor of the radio cabin and went down into the hold and transferred to the other boat, this boat, through those holes. Then we waited for word from you kids.
Oh, and you took the yacht radio with you down into the hull of this boat, didn't you? And those homing pigeons.
Yes, Jerry. We waited and waited. Then we heard the signal to submerge the island, and two Euclidean guards came aboard the yacht. Fortunately, they didn't look into any cabin or try to speak to anybody. They simply went to the rail and cut the lines which lashed the two boats together.
Gee, that was slick, Tex. And you were ready, listening with the radio hot, when Joan and I sent the message to Johnson from the island radio room.
Right, Jerry.
You and Mother did it all very cleverly, Captain Tex.
We only did the natural thing, dear. In fact, the only thing. We didn't have much choice about our activities. Now, you two tell us what happened to you.
Well,
when we left here, we went
down inside
Hey, wait a minute. One at a time.
Well, thank you, Jerry.
We went down
inside the island and we...
golly whisker.
I think we'd better referee this thing, Pat.
Looks like it might expedite matters. Suppose you start, Joan.
Yes, Mother. As you know, Jerry and I had two of the 300-second ray guns, which I had taken from the commander when Gas put the Euclideans in the laboratory to sleep. So we felt reasonably safe. But the problem was how to get down inside the island without exciting suspicion, as we knew the Euclidean guard in the voice control chamber on the surface was hearing everything we said as we walked across the island. But Jerry solved that very nicely.
How was that, Jerry?
Well, I just talked good and loud about the formula you had given me to wake these men up with, and how we had to hurry to the laboratory with it. Of course, the guard heard me, and when Joan asked for the elevator, she got it quick.
That was very quick thinking, Jerry.
Oh, Jerry was very clever, Mother.
Oh, you finally got that straightened out anyway.
Jerry. Well, then we went into the sound channel on the 5th level, where we could talk in privacy. And I showed Jerry the scale model of the island. And from it, we planned our attack on the vital parts of the power and control system.
Say, you two kids work just like a machine. Go on.
But just as Joan and I were ready to leave for the power rooms, one of the Euclidean guards came in. Joan fired her ray gun like she'd shot me, and I fell down. Joan sent for the guard for orders about me, and we got out of there.
And then we climbed down the ladder inside the elevator shaft to the 100-foot level.
50 feet down a dark elevator shaft?
Yes, Mother. We landed safely, however. And by using the ray on a guard, we were able to get into the power rooms and shut off the electricity and flood the power rooms. And as Jerry flooded the rooms, I took out the fuses and threw them in the water.
Great work, kids. But how about this submerging operation they just completed as we got away? How did they do that without power?
I wondered about that, Joan, and you were too busy to tell me.
The island may be submerged to a depth of 40 feet by gravity, aided by reserve emergency tanks of compressed air.
Those Euclideans certainly thought of everything. But how did you get out of the lower level after the rooms were flooded?
Well, that's where we had to climb 50 feet up the inside of a concrete and steel chute. It was like a corkscrew, but almost straight up.
And that is where we hurt our hands and feet so badly. I could never have reached the platform but for Jerry helping me.
Then we just took a chance and used a private elevator from the 5th level to the surface. And it comes up inside the control room. Joan used a ray gun to put another guard to sleep there. And we sent a message to Johnson that you heard.
It was while Jerry and I were climbing up that terrible upright tunnel that you heard most of the signals ringing as they rushed from floor to floor trying to locate us.
Gee, I hated to leave the commander in that laboratory asleep with G-47, those other Euclideans. But Joan figured she would be safe there. And when we came back to take over the island, we could rescue her. She sure did a big thing when she let herself be put to sleep so we could escape.
Yes, you bet she did. And we'll see that she's taken care of one of these days. Just as we'll take care of everybody on that island who wants to lead a decent life in our world.
I think it's only G-47 and a few of his assistants who are really criminals. The rest are merely prisoners, doing the bidding of the scientists.
That is true, Mother. The prisoner we brought from the control room is one of the scientists, however. One of the chief electrical engineers. And he is very dangerous and clever.
Gee, have you got him locked up good, Tex?
Locked up and guarded. The skipper and McLeod will handle him without any trouble.
Well, that is the end of our story, I think, Captain.
No, it isn't, Joan. It's only the beginning. We've got to know a lot about that island before we consider ourselves safely away.
Yes, Joan, dear. For one thing, how long will the island remain submerged and more or less helpless?
That will depend greatly on how long the captain's formula will keep them asleep.
What if help doesn't arrive right away? I mean, what if we're without fuel and have to depend on what little way we can make with our makeshift sail? How much time will we have before the Euclideans will send a submarine or an airplane out after us?
I think not later than daylight, even with most of the scientists asleep.
Can they pump out those lower chambers and raise the island again that soon?
Oh, yes, Captain. If any of the men left active understand it, and they undoubtedly will. You see, they carry enough reserve compressed air to drive the water out and raise the island without any electricity.
Golly whiskers. Then we may not be doing so good after all.
Johnson to J24Y.
Quiet, everybody, now. Hello, Johnson. Bradford. We're safely off the island, but short of fuel. Go ahead.
Running for Los Angeles. Our fuel supply nearly exhausted. Left lighted buoy on your course. We'll rush other aid as soon as possible. Give further news later. That's all. Hold your set on 6 meters. Better for this receiver. Sorry. That's all.
Gee, he's not much help.
Oh, Mother, what will we do now?
Now, steady, kids, till I work this out. Johnson said 6 meters. He knows his set it weak at 6 meters. Something.
Tex, code. Try every 6th letter. The 6 is for some good reason.
Right, Pat. Every 6th letter. Fuel. Buoy. Other. Farther.
Gee, that means he left a lighted buoy on our course with an oil drum tied to it.
And that other farther means he's leaving lighted oil drums all along our course.
Oh, that Johnson is a wonderful man.
You bet he is. And we'll be a lot of miles from Euclidia at daylight.
The Gregory boat is nearly 50 miles from the Magic Island. It is after 9 o'clock at night, with the warm, sluggish darkness of the subtropics hanging over the water, as the big diesel-motored cruiser plows steadily northward toward the regular steamer lanes and California. The escape from the island was entirely successful, but the Gregory boat is short of fuel, and those on board have no guarantee as to their margin of safety before the Euclidean scientists on the island repair the damage done by Jerry and Joan and set out after the boat. Mrs. Gregory and her daughter Joan are in the radio cabin, listening constantly for a message from Johnson, who is speeding through the South Pacific somewhere ahead of them. Captain Bradford and Jerry are standing in the pilot house on the boat, watching carefully for any sign of light on their course.
How much farther can we go on the oil we got, Tex?
Not very far, kid. I'd say 5 miles to most.
Gee. Are you sure about that code message of Johnson's?
Couldn't miss it, Jerry. Johnson said he'd leave a trail of oil drums with lighted buoys on his course. He wasn't further than this when he dropped the first one according to his message.
Then we ought to see it pretty soon, if it hasn't been carried away off the course.
No, not much danger of that. There's no wind, and I've been setting our course to compensate for what little drift there is.
Just the same, I'm getting kind of worried. We couldn't do any more than hold her on the course with the little breeze we got.
I know it, Jerry, but we'll just have to hang on and see what happens. Then if we do run out and haven't picked up the drum, we'll simply have to radio Johnson and ask him to turn that boat around and come after us.
But his boat's on a scheduled run, and they've lost a lot of time over us already.
Yeah, true, but they'll come back if they have to. Of course, it's better for us if they don't, because Johnson is getting nearer a regular steamer lane all the time. And if he can catch a fast mail boat to Los Angeles, I can get in there and get busy on my formula.
But if we get fuel enough, we can make better time on this boat than anything on the ocean. Why wouldn't it be better for them to wait for us and load us with fuel than let us tear on into Los Angeles?
Well, you see, Jerry, I didn't want to alarm Pat and Joan with this, but Johnson's playing smart in more ways than one. He's got a mighty good idea of the sort of thing we've been up against. And he's afraid we'll still get caught and dragged back to that island. And if that happens, he wants to be free to go on into Los Angeles, get that formula compounded, come back to do a real job of wiping out that island.
Oh, gee. Do you think there's any real danger of us getting caught before we get far enough away from the Magic Island?
Yes, Jerry, I do. We saw enough things there to warn us that almost anything is possible where G47 and his men are concerned.
Yeah, I guess that's right, all right. Maybe even Johnson hasn't got as much chance of getting away as he thinks he has.
Why not?
Well, we had the Euclideans thinking Johnson was on board this boat. But in the last hour, we've been sending messages to him. And G47 will know where Johnson is.
No, not exactly, he won't. You notice that Johnson refuses to even tell us what his position is. Though the instruments on the island would register his exact course from the island, I don't think they could even guess how far he may be along that course. They don't know the power of the set he's using.
Oh, golly, Tex, this is the most mixed-up thing I ever heard of.
Captain.
Yes, Skipper, what is it?
Light.
Gee, Tex, a light. Let's go see what it's all about.
Where away, Skipper?
Starboard.
Off the beam?
Aye.
Hey, I don't see anything out there.
Oh, wait a minute now, wait. I do. Yes, that's it. Signal the engine room for half speed. Throw that wheel hard over. That's a lighted buoy on an oil drum we've got to pick up.
Aye.
Hey, Tex, where you going?
Into the cabin. Come on, kid, we'll do a little figuring.
Course, Tex. I heard the engine room telegraph.
Yes, we're circling to pick up the first of the drums of oil Johnson dropped for us.
Oh, you have seen the lighted buoy, then?
Oh, no. The skipper saw it. You know, that old guy may not talk much, but he navigates with his eyes open.
You're right, Jerry. That's why the skipper is so valuable.
Now we've got to do a little scout practice on the chart here and see why that buoy should be so far off our course.
Hey, the motors have stopped. We must be getting ready to pick up that oil drum.
Sounded to me more like we've run out of fuel.
Yes, that's about it. Run out on deck, will you, Jerry, and help McLeod and the skipper haul that drum aboard? You may have to rig up a little canvas, too, to reach it if the fuel's going.
Aye, aye, Cap. Come on, Joan.
Oh, may I, Mother?
Of course, dear. Stop in my cabin and put on a heavy sweater, though. You've had enough exposure.
Oh, but it's warm out on deck, Mother.
You come on and do what your mother says.
Yes, Jerry, of course.
You've got something on your mind. Tex, what is it?
Well, I don't like that running out of fuel, for one thing, and that drum being so far off our course for another. We're not out of the woods yet, Pat.
But Johnson's last message sounded confident enough.
Yes, I know, but, well, Pat, I wasn't going to tell you.
Yes, Tex?
And I told Jerry not to discuss it in front of you, but things lack a whole lot of being perfect for our getting away safely.
I know there's a certain element of danger, Tex, but after what we've been through on that island...
Exactly, dear. After what we've been through on that island, we don't want any more of it.
You don't think there's much chance of those Euclideans being able to stop us now, do you?
Well, we're only 50 miles from the island. If those chemists wake up while we're within striking distance, or if the remaining guards can manage to get that submerged island drained out and raised, well, they're coming after us.
Then, if you think things are that dangerous, why not send a hurry-up call to Johnson, have that boat put about and run back for us?
Yes, that's what Jerry asked me, but it's no good. Johnson is taking chances on our picking up barely enough fuel from these buoys. And for all we know, he hasn't enough large drums aboard to dump sufficient oil out for us. Yet in spite of all that, he keeps running away from us.
Well, I'm not sure I understand what he's doing, Tex.
I do, perfectly. He knows our danger, and he knows that even if we're caught again, he can go into Los Angeles, have my universal solvent formula compounded, and come back here with enough help to finish that island. While if he came back here now and was caught with us, well...
Yes, I understand.
Sorry, Pat, but it's about the way it looks to me.
Listen.
Sounded like the winch started.
Yes. They must be getting ready to pick up the oil drum.
Guess we had speed enough to carry us around to that buoy. They couldn't have rigged a sail and made it in this time.
Jerry is helping the skipper and Mr. McLeod take a drum of oil aboard, Captain Bradford.
We thought that was what the noise was, Joan.
Yes, dear. But how did we get to it so quickly?
The buoy was not as far off our course as it appeared to be. The light on it was very small and dim. It was actually not more than 100 yards away when the skipper sighted it.
It relieves my mind about more than the oil.
You mean about being off your course?
Yes, at least we know we haven't forgotten how to navigate.
How long will that amount of oil last, Captain?
I can't very well tell you until I see how large the drum is.
Oh, that was stupid of me, wasn't it?
Did you notice the size, dear?
Well, Mother, it was still hidden down in that dark water. I could not see it. And Jerry sent me in here to tell you that we had found it.
No, that's all right, Joan. We'll soon know how large it is.
I will go and find out, Captain.
Don't bother, Joan. Jerry will come in as soon as they get the engine room hatch. As soon as they get it down there. I don't hear the winch. It must be over the hatch. It won't take long. It's going below now. It's landed, and none too gently from the sound.
Well, it must have been a large drum.
I sure hope so.
How rapidly does this boat use up the fuel oil, Captain?
I'm not sure without checking with Mac, but I know one barrel won't take us very far.
Well, we got the barrel of oil in the hole, all right. Mac and the skipper are going to put it into the tank as fast as they can.
How big was it, Jerry?
Well, Mac said it looked like 55 gallons to him.
Oh, that won't take us very far, will it, Tex?
No, not very, but Johnson knows how this boat burns it, and I told him we'd be running wide open. So he should drop those things overboard for us pretty often.
Do you think it will take us long to start the boat again, Captain?
Why, getting nervous, Joan?
Yes, I am. We are so near that awful Euclideus, and they have so many powerful things with which to reach us.
Oh, but most of those guys are asleep. And the ones that aren't are busy trying to raise that island after you and I flooded the lower levels.
You can't be sure how long that gas from your formula will keep them asleep, will you, Tex?
No, that would depend on the quantity of it they mixed up. The size of the room, and how soon they were given fresh air. Oh, a lot of things. But it should last for several more hours.
And then there is the possibility of raising the island and using the submarines to chase us. Or even the airplanes. None of the aviation engineers were in the gas-filled chamber. They would all be free to set out after us the moment the surface of the island cleared the water.
Oh, you can all think of the nicest things. Now, why not quit hanging crepe and agree that we're away from the island? That's something. And we've got some more fuel. That's something else. It's not going to help things to sit around here with long faces and feel sorry for ourselves.
You're right, Jerry. But after all, Joan knows all about the island. And 50 miles or 100 miles doesn't guarantee us much safety.
Well, let's quit worrying about it for the time anyway. Any minute now, the motors will start. We'll have their Husky-Roar anyway to help us out.
Yes, Skipper?
Captain.
Come in, Skipper. Got the oil in the tanks yet?
No.
Why not? Trouble?
Aye.
Serious?
Bad.
Right with you, Skipper. Shove off. You three stay here till I get back.
Yes, Tex, we will.
Gee, I wonder what's up now.
Well, probably they can't get the oil drum open. I've seen that happen time and time before.
But surely there is some way.
Well, if there is, Tex will find it. I know those things can be dangerous, though.
In what way can they be dangerous, Jerry?
Well, there's no telling how much gas there is in one, especially if the oil doesn't fill it tight. And if you're not careful with wrenches and hammers, sometimes a spark will blow one up.
I think Tex has handled several of them. We haven't much to worry about, though our time is awfully precious right now.
It's funny we don't hear them working on it. I'm going to...
Oh, no, Jerry. Stay here. You know the captain said for us to stay here in the cabin.
But golly whiskers.
I think you should stay, Jerry. For some reason, Tex wanted you to, and his reasons are usually very good ones.
Oh, okay, Mrs. Bradford, I'm sorry. But, well, I don't like to just sit here and do nothing. I'm getting the jitters.
I, too, have the jitters, Jerry.
Oh, what was it, Tex?
Couldn't they get the oil drum open?
Captain Bradford, your face. It looks like a thundercloud.
Tex. Oh, shut that door and come in here. Now, tell us quickly, what's the matter?
That oil drum. They got it open all right.
Yes, and then what?
But we'll never run those motors on that oil.
Was it not the right kind of oil, Captain?
It wasn't oil at all. It was turpentine.
Turpentine?
Oh, Tex. Then we can't move.
No, we can't move. And we've gone just as far from that island as we're liable to go.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another planet, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, defender of law and order, champion of equal rights, valiant, courageous fighter against the forces of hate and prejudice. Today, as we begin a brand new adventure for the Man of Steel, Jimmy Olsen has just had a most unusual invitation. We'll learn more about it in a moment. But right now, gang, let's hear what Dan McCullough has to say.
You know, the other day I heard a girl and a fellow arguing over which is the best-looking comic button in the series Kellogg's Pep is putting out. Now, she voted for Superman, said he's the most handsome, but he held out for Smokey Stover because he's the funniest. Then I put in my 2 cents worth for that tough little mug, K.O. And you know what we decided? Well, we decided that there just isn't any best-looking comic button because all 18 of them are different types, and you can't very well compare them. And we decided that it's going to be a grand day when a fellow or girl can sport the whole series on a jacket or a dress or cap. What's more, we all agreed that it's loads of fun collecting these Pep comic buttons, seeing who can get the most buttons the soonest and swapping duplicates with your pals. It'd be a doggone shame to miss that fun. So, gang, better remind Mom to get you some more of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep, because that's the only way you can get these comic buttons. You can't buy them anywhere, and you don't have to send in any money, not even a box top. They come only as exclusive prizes in packages of P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
When Poco, editor Perry White's curious little cook who speaks only in rhyme, called Jimmy Olsen at the Daily Planet and invited him to take a trip to the moon, Jimmy thought the roly-poly rhymester was either kidding or crazy. But evidently, Poco is neither. He has arranged to meet Jimmy at the secret laboratory of Professor Twiddle, inventor of the radar rocket. As we join Jimmy now, he is walking through the huge city room and has just stopped to look in at Clark Kent's office.
Hi, Mr. Kent.
Oh, hi, Jim. Come on in.
Thanks. Say, Mr. Kent, do you know how far the moon is?
You mean from the Earth?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Well, the distance varies, Jim, but it's approximately 250,000 miles.
250,000 miles?
That's not very far.
Are you kidding?
Well, now look, Venus is 26 million miles from the Earth, and Mars is 35.
Gosh.
And the moon is not made of green cheese, in case you're interested. And it doesn't have any man in it.
Well, how do you know?
As far as that goes, nobody really knows, I don't suppose, but scientists are pretty sure the moon has no inhabitants. Well, it couldn't have.
Why not?
It hasn't any moisture, Jim. And even flowers need moisture to live. Not only that, but the temperatures on the moon are brutal. During the day, the thermometer hits 260 degrees, and during the night, it drops to 240 degrees below zero. That's pretty cold.
Yeah, it sure is.
You're not thinking of a trip to the moon, are you, Jim?
What? Oh, me? Why, gosh, no.
Oh, don't look so shocked. Ever since the Army Signal Corps made radar contact with the moon a few weeks ago, every crackpot in the world is flying to the moon.
You think they're all crackpots?
Oh, of course.
Uh-huh. Well, I gotta be going. Thanks a lot, Mr. Kent.
Okay.
I'll see you later.
Come on, Jim. If you decide to go to the moon, be sure to pick a nice, comfortable moonbeam.
Leaving the Daily Planet building, Jimmy takes a cab to the address given him by Poco over the phone. It's a 3-story brownstone building in what was once a fashionable section of the city. Mounting the steps, Jimmy is about to ring the bell when the door opens and Poco motions him inside. A moment later, they are together in what resembles a living room. Poco is quivery with excitement.
Oh, James, my friend, I'm so glad you're here. Each minute of waiting was like a year. If you hadn't come, I'd been in the middle with Gloomy Gus and Professor Twiddle.
Now, wait a minute, Poco. Before we get into this, I want you to know I think it's a lot of horse feathers. Well, I just had a talk with Mr. Kent, and he says...
Oh, holy Jupiter. What have you done? You shouldn't have spoken to anyone.
Well, relax. All I did was ask Mr. Kent some questions about the moon, how far away it was, and things like that. He happened to mention that a lot of crackpots were talking about flying to the moon, ever since the Army Signal Corps contacted it by radar. So this Professor Twiddle of yours must be a crackpot, too.
Oh, he is he?
Huh?
I said he is he?
Well, sure he's a crackpot if he thinks he can fly to the moon. Well, who are you?
I, my young friend, am Professor Twiddle.
What? Oh, hello.
Bubble, bubble, I smell trouble.
So, I'm a crackpot, am I? Professor Timothy T. Twiddle, A.B., M.A., Ph.D., F.R.S.C., L.L.D. is a crackpot. And pray tell, what are you?
I'm a newspaper reporter.
Oh, so you're the young man Poco was telling me about.
James is his first name, Professor Twiddle. His last name's Olson. He has no middle.
James Olson, eh? And you think I'm a crackpot?
Well, it's not me, sir. It's Clark Kent.
Oh, Jiminy Creaker. We're getting deeper.
Clark Kent? Who is he?
Well, he's a reporter on the Daily Planet.
Oh, another newspaper reporter, eh? Perhaps you could tell me why Mr. Parkbench calls me a crackpot.
Well, his name is Clark Kent.
A fig for his name. Why did he call me a crackpot?
Well, he didn't call you a crackpot.
You just said he did.
I did not.
You did so.
I did not. All I said was that Mr. Kent said anyone who tried to fly to the moon was a crackpot.
Really? Which side of the moon? There are 2 sides, you know.
Are there?
Are there? Are there? Of course there are. Everything has at least 2 sides. Even Poco knows that. Don't you, Poco?
Oh, yes, I guess.
Well, does it matter which side you fly to?
Of course it matters.
Why?
Because one side we know about. The other side we don't.
And which side are you going to fly to?
The other side, of course. The side we don't know about. Anybody would be a crackpot to fly to the side we know about because there's nothing there. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, that's what Mr. Kent said. He said it had no moisture, and he said nobody could live on the moon. But he didn't say anything about size.
Aha. That's the trouble. That's the big trouble. We only see one side of the moon because the moon revolves on its axis in exactly the time it takes for it to circle the Earth. So it always presents the same side to an earthly observer. Do you understand?
No.
Do you understand, Poco?
Oh, no, it's much too deep for me. I never studied geometry.
But we'll take your word for it, Professor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, where were we?
The other side of the moon.
Oh, yes. That's where we're going in my radar rocket, to the unknown side of the moon. Well, are we ready to leave?
Well, ready to leave? You mean you're going now?
And why not?
Well, gosh, I can't go to the moon just like that. I'd have to get an okay from Mr. White, and I'd have to tell my mother and get my toothbrush.
Fiddlesticks. We'll be back by supper time.
By supper time?
But, of course, you don't think I intend tootling around in space forever, do you?
But the moon's 250,000 miles away.
My radar rocket travels at the rate of 5,000 miles a minute. Now, how fast is that by the hour?
By the hour? Well, let's see. 50 minutes in an hour.
A brilliant observation.
60 times 5,000 would be... Leaping lizards. 300,000 miles an hour.
Exactly. Which means, of course, that we can travel to the moon and back in 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 12 seconds.
Poco, this guy's crazy as a loon.
What did you say?
I said you can't be lazy on the moon.
That doesn't even make sense. But never mind. The radar rocket is ready to be launched. We leave in 5 minutes.
5 minutes? Oh, gosh, can't I even call my mother?
No, 1,000 times no. We must maintain complete secrecy. I have powerful enemies. Foul, unscrupulous men who would move heaven and earth to prevent my reaching the moon. Make up your mind, young man. Are you going with us? Yes or no?
Oh, why? Well,
Bewildered, Jimmy's eyes shift from Poco to Professor Twiddle. He's almost convinced the little eccentric scientist isn't all there, and yet something tells him there's more to this than appears on the surface. Strangely enough, Jimmy is right, and we'll return in just a moment to find out how right. But first, here again is your announcer.
Gang, I suppose you can't actually taste sunshine, but just the same, it seems to add a more cheerful flavor to breakfast these wintry mornings. But for sunny gold and toasted goodness any day in the week, Kellogg's Pep is a winner. Why, Pep is so crisp and fresh, so full up with that delicate sunny flavor that, well, you hardly want to stop eating. Pep ties up with old man Sun when it comes to nutrition, too, because your breakfast bowl full of Kellogg's Pep gives you your daily minimum need of sunshine vitamin D. Mom will tell you that's mighty important. And, of course, you know how important it is to you to get those exciting comic buttons Kellogg's Pep is putting out. You wouldn't want to miss out on a single one. There are 18 different buttons in the series, like Moon Mullins and Orphan Annie and Superman himself. They're all done up in full comic strip colors, so they really show up when you wear them pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. How about asking Mom to get you a package or two of Kellogg's Pep when she's shopping tomorrow? That's the only way you can get these comic buttons, you know. You can't buy them, and you don't send in any money, not even a box top. They come only in packages of P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's, the greatest name in cereals. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
Finally consenting to attempt a trip to the moon in a radar rocket, Jimmy, with Poco at his heels, was led up 3 flights of stairs by Professor Twiddle and ushered into a room on the top floor of the house. In the center of the room, on a raised platform, is the radar rocket, built like a huge cigar with a plexiglass nose and what looks like an aluminum body. At the far end of the room, a man is seated at a control board mounted with dozens of mysterious knobs and dials. He looks up as Professor Twiddle approaches him, and the expression on his face is one of deep gloom. Jimmy nudges Poco.
Poco, who's he? Oh, Professor Twiddle's radar man. Did you ever see such a gloomy pan?
Well, Gus, is everything ready for the launching?
Everything's ready, but you'll never get to the moon.
Oh, come now, come now.
Something's bound to happen. It always does.
Fiddlestick.
What's he mean, Poco?
Oh, he always makes this kind of a fuss. That's why they call him Gloomy Gus.
Well, young man, there it is. How do you like it?
Well, how do I like what?
The radar rocket, of course.
Well, I think it's very nice.
Since you're a newspaper reporter, you'll undoubtedly wish to write a world-shattering story about our trip to the moon, so I think I'd better give you some idea of how it works.
You mean if it works?
Don't pay any attention to Gus. He's just gloomy by nature.
Anyone who takes off in that thing is crazy.
Quiet, Gus, quiet. Now, as I was saying, I'd better give you some idea of how the radar rocket works.
Well, if you don't mind, Professor.
Oh, I don't mind at all.
No, I mean...
Think nothing of it. Now, pay close attention. The instrument panel at which Gus is seated is the radar beam control board. You got that? In a few short moments, Gus will direct the radar beam at the moon. We shall then enter the rocket, press the impulse button, and drive that radar beam through space at the incredible speed of 5,000 miles a minute.
Wait, you mean he doesn't go with us?
Gus? Certainly not, certainly not. He controls the radar beam from the control board.
I wouldn't ride in that thing for $1 million.
Funny, isn't he? Start the beam going, Gus. Now, we open the door of the rocket and step inside.
Not me.
What was that?
I said not me. I'm not going.
What do you mean?
I changed my mind. I don't want to fly to the moon.
It's too late, young man.
Too late?
Yes, too late, too late. Now that you've seen the rocket, you must go along. I can't leave you behind to reveal my secret to the world.
Oh, I promise I won't say a word to anyone.
Step inside.
But, Professor,
Step inside, young man. Do as I say.
Oh, Gee whiz.
Fearfully, with the strange, eerie hum of the radar machine building up behind him, Jimmy steps into the curious rocket, followed by Poco and then Professor Twiddle. The metal door closes. 2 bolts slide into place. And then, for a moment, all is deadly silence. What will happen next? What can happen? You'd be surprised. So, if surprises are what you like, don't fail to hear Monday's episode in this strange adventure in space. Every minute of it is tense and exciting, so be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station, and follow the adventures of Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. Say, gang, here's some razzle-dazzle news to flash to Mom. Kellogg's Variety is back. So now everybody at the breakfast table can have the Kellogg cereal he likes best. Because Kellogg's Variety is that grand variety carton holding 10 generous packages of 6 favorite Kellogg cereals. Are they delicious? And does Kellogg's Variety make breakfast fun? Why, it's better than a grab bag because you get what you really want. Today, ask Mom to get Kellogg's Variety, the package that makes breakfast a picnic. And be sure to be with us on Monday for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, defender of law and order, champion of equal rights, valiant, courageous fighter against the forces of hate and prejudice. Today, his friend Jimmy Olsen is about to take a trip to the moon in Professor Twiddle's curious radar rocket. We'll join Jimmy, Poco, and the professor in just a moment. But right now, here's Dan McCullough to tell you about an interesting observation he's made.
Say, gang, here's something I noticed the other day. Among all those characters whose pictures are on the comic buttons Kellogg's Pep is putting out, there's not one villain. Yes, sir, you can say something good about every single one of those 18 different funny paper friends. Like Skeezix, for instance. Why, he's a regular fellow. And Smokey Stover, always good for a laugh. And Superman himself. Boy, he's a real hero. What's more, you can say lots of good things about the way those Pep comic buttons are done up. The colors are so bright and clear on the gleaming white background that, well, you feel mighty proud someday soon when you wear all 18 of those Pep comic buttons pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. And for downright exciting fun, can you beat the thrill of getting a new button every time Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep? Or maybe even a duplicate that you can trade with your pals. So how's about reminding Mom right now that it's about time for another package or two of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal? Because that's the only way you can get these nifty comic buttons. You can't buy them, and you don't send in any money, not even a box top. Just get your exclusive prize in every package of P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
In response to an excited telephone call from Poco, Editor Perry White's curious little cook who speaks only in rhyme, Jimmy Olsen agreed to meet Poco's friend, Professor Timothy T. Twiddle, the slightly eccentric scientist who is planning a trip to the moon. To Jimmy's amazement, Professor Twiddle was serious. Not only serious, but on the third floor of his house, mounted in a launching platform, Professor Twiddle displayed his radar rocket, a cigar-shaped metal container with a plexiglass nose. And before Jimmy knew it, he was inside the rocket with Poco and the professor, about to take off. As we join them now, the professor is up forward manipulating some strange dials, while Jimmy and Poco huddle in the rear. Jimmy is petrified.
Oh, Poco, I tell you, we're crazy to do this. We're as crazy as he is.
Oh, Professor Twiddle is often hazy, but on my honor, he's far from crazy.
But flying to the moon, who ever heard of such a thing?
Oh, the more you work, the more you earn. The more you live, the more you learn.
Oh, you're crazy, too. I'm getting out of here. Professor Twiddle!
Don't bother me now, young man. I'm adjusting the radar receptor.
But, Professor...
Later, young man, later. Oh, relax, friend James. There's nothing to fear. You're not alone. I'll be here.
Oh, that's a big help. Oh, why did I ever get mixed up in this? Why? Look at me, cooped up in an aluminum cigar with a guy who's nutty as a fruitcake.
Oh, I see. You mean me.
No, I don't mean you, Poco. And for the love of Mike, stop talking in rhyme, will you? That's driving me cuckoo, too.
Oh, talking in rhyme saves me time.
Oh, all right. What's the use? We won't be alive very long anyway. You heard what that guy at the control board said, his assistant. You heard him say we were crazy to try this.
And he always makes that kind of a fuss. That's why they call him Gloomy Gus.
I don't care what they call him. He's right. Radar rocket, fly to the moon on a radar beam of all the...
Gentlemen, all ready to take off. Next stop, the moon.
Professor.
Don't thank me, young man. Don't thank me until our flight is complete.
But I wanted to...
I understand perfectly. You're overwhelmed with the honor. So be it. Now, if you and Poco will brace yourselves for the initial propulsion shock, we'll take off.
The roof. What about the roof?
That's my beard. You're right, quite right. Slipped my mind completely. I'll tell Gus to roll it back.
Roll it back?
Poco, he's crazy.
Oh, have patience, James. Don't call him names.
He's opening the door. Now's our chance to get out.
No. We'll have to go.
Gus, roll the roof back.
Okay. Oh, it's too late now.
Thanks so much for reminding me about the roof. So, would have been quite embarrassing. Ah, there it goes.
What? Jeepers. It is rolling back.
Leaving us with nothing but the canopy of the heavens above us. The endless limits of space which we are about to conquer. Ready, gentlemen?
Oh, gosh.
Brace yourselves. I am about to press the propulsion button. Here goes. We're off. I said we're off.
I'm afraid to open my eyes. Where are we?
Hurtling through space at 5,000 miles a minute.
Oh, courage, friend. It's not the end.
Maybe not, but it's the next thing to us.
Relax, gentlemen, relax. From now on, it will be smooth sailing. We're above the Earth's atmosphere. Perhaps I should give you both an elementary lesson in astrology while we're en route.
Oh, don't bother. If I never see a star again, it'll be too soon. Oh, what's that?
We have just passed into the ionosphere.
Oh, dear.
How far from the Earth are we?
Oh, roughly 8,000 miles.
Oh.
Coco, I was under the impression this young man had taken a trip in a spaceship with you.
I took it with him, didn't I, Jim?
Yeah, but that was different. That was an accident. We touched something and it took off.
Very unscientific, very unscientific. In my radar rocket, it will see everything is under control. Our course is plotted, guided, impulsed, and monitored under correct mathematical equations. We are as safe up here at this moment as we would be in...
It's a lizard. What was that?
Don't move. Stay where you are. Something's gone wrong.
I knew it. You see, Poco, I told you we shouldn't have come along.
Ah, woe is me. Such misery.
You heard what he said. We're in trouble. Something's gone wrong.
We have no radar impulse.
Well, but didn't know what?
No radar impulse. No beam.
I don't know what he's talking about.
He says we have no radar beam. Could all this, James, be just a dream?
Well, I wish it were, but it isn't.
Don't get excited. Don't lose your head. It's just temporary, I'm certain. Just temporary. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen.
Well, then what are you so excited for?
Excited? Who's excited? Why, I'm just as cool as a cucumber. But don't you get excited. There's nothing to be excited about. Where's Professor Twiddle?
Huh?
I said, where's Professor Twiddle? What happened to him?
Well, you're Professor Twiddle.
Huh? Oh, yes, so I am. Silly of me. Where's Poco?
Oh, Poco's right here, and I'm here, too, and we want to know what happened.
Happened?
You said something was wrong right after that big hiss.
Yes, of course. The radar beam. We haven't any radar beam.
What does that mean?
What does it mean? Why, bless my beard, it means we're suspended in space. We're held between the Earth and the Moon.
Aren't we moving?
Of course not, can't you tell?
Oh, me, oh, my. Stuck in the sky.
You mean we're just stuck up here? We can't move?
Not without a radar beam. The gravitational attraction of the Earth is counterbalanced by the atmospheric depression of the ionosphere, placing us in a state of inanimate suspension.
Oh, cut out the double talk. We're stuck up here. Is that it?
Stating the matter simply, yes.
How far are we from the Earth?
Approximately 10,000 miles.
Oh, murder.
Don't get excited.
Oh, stop telling me not to get excited. I'm not excited. I'm as cool as a cucumber.
There, you see? You are excited. You are.
Stop it, I said.
My word.
Now, look. You say we're stuck here. We can't go up and we can't go down. What are we going to do about it?
Bless my beard, what can we do? Without a radar beam, we're helpless.
Well, where is the radar beam?
Why, it just isn't. It was cut off suddenly.
Who cut it off?
Bless my beard, how should I know?
Well, look, the way I understand it, your assistant Gus, operating the radar set in your house, sent a beam up to the moon.
Correct.
And then the rocket was launched and it traveled on the radar beam.
Correct again.
But now there is no radar beam. It's gone.
Correct once more.
That means someone at the radar set must have stopped it.
Yes, of course.
Who?
Bless my beard, I don't know.
It couldn't be Gus, could it?
No, 1,000 times no.
Well, maybe the machine went on the blink.
On the what?
Oh, the blink. Maybe it's busted.
I doubt it. I very much doubt it. This is the work of my enemies.
Well, whatever it is, we're stuck up here until someone gets the radar beam working again, right?
Yes, but we haven't much time.
What do you mean?
We're in the ionosphere, the region above the atmosphere. It has no oxygen.
What? No oxygen? Then how are we breathing?
We're breathing the oxygen from our own tanks. But bless my beard, we have just enough to last 24 hours. Just 24 hours, and then, well, that's all.
Suspended in space 10,000 miles from the Earth, Jimmy and Poco listen in dazed silence as Professor Twiddle informs them they have only enough oxygen to last 24 hours. We'll be back in a moment for the climax of today's episode, so stand by. But first, here again is your announcer.
You know what a certain young lady told me the other day? Well, she said that she's been saving on her allowance lately because she has a swell hobby. It's collecting comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. You see, you don't have to send in a single penny for these swell prizes, not even a box top. And yet you can have loads of fun with them, like trading duplicates, for example. Now, here's how that works. Suppose you get 2 buttons with Moon Mullins on them, but you don't have either Lillums or Superman in your collection. So you find out which one of your pals has an extra Lillums or a Superman to swap. And there you are. And while you're about it, you can compare notes on how many Pep comic buttons you've collected. See who's likely to be the first to get all 18 buttons in this series. Then, of course, there's the thrill of pinning a new button with the others on your jacket or your dress or cap for everybody to see. Now, you certainly don't want to miss out on all that fun, so ask Mom to get you some more of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep, because that's the prize package that brings you these exciting comic buttons. Remember, you can't buy them anywhere. They come only in packages of P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's, the greatest name in cereals. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
Night has fallen, and inside the radar rocket, suspended in space, all is quiet. Poco is curled up fast asleep, and Professor Twiddle is dozing, his bearded chin resting on his chest. Only Jimmy is wide awake. A tiny yellow light burns in the ceiling of the rocket, casting a weird glow on the metal ribs. Suddenly, Jimmy stiffens as the deadly silence is broken by an eerie sound.
Professor Twiddle. Professor Twiddle. Eh? Yes, what is it? What is it?
I heard something strange.
Strange? What? Where?
Listen.
Bless my beard, it's the pigeons.
Pigeons?
Slipped my mind completely, good gracious.
Be careful. Poco's asleep.
Oh, how can anyone sleep in a place where people practically step in your face?
Sorry, Poco. Not getting the pigeons. Ah, my 2 lovely little beauties. You were lonesome, weren't you?
Well, what did you bring pigeons along for? Now they'll just use up oxygen.
On the contrary. Pigeons use very little oxygen, and they're sensitive to atmospheric changes. All birds are. Don't you know they use canaries and coal mines to test for poison gases? I brought these little beauties along as a safeguard, to warn us in case the oxygen apparatus fails to work. They'd know long before we would.
Oh, that's a big help. Can they tell fortunes, too?
Now, don't make fun of them, young man. Don't make fun of them. They may come in very handy.
Well, hey, wait a minute. Come in handy?
Huh?
These little lizards.
Bless my beard, what is it?
You bet they'll come in handy. Oh, boy, why didn't you say something about them before? Get a pencil. Get a piece of paper. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Almost exploding in his eagerness, Jimmy reaches for the cage containing the 2 pigeons as though it were a life preserver. Why is he so excited? What has he in mind? We'll know tomorrow, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station, and follow the adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellas and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. Give a hip hip hooray, gang. It's back. For you and me, now there's Kellogg's famous variety. That's the swell variety carton with 10 separate generous packages of Kellogg's cereals, including Kellogg's Pep, Rice Krispies, shredded wheat, corn flakes, crumbles, and 40% bran flakes. Each box in Kellogg's variety holds a fresh, crisp, heaping portion. Just help yourself to your favorite kind. Makes breakfast a picnic of fun. So ask Mom to get Kellogg's variety right away. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York. Marketers of Richfield gasolines with Xylene, Rich Lube all-weather motor oil, and other famous petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to an old-time whaling ship in the Pacific, and the story of the desperation and murderous violence of the men who sailed her, as Bud Nelson tells it in his exciting tale, Yellow Wake. Panama. Great chests of gold. The end of Sanford's rainbow. Stupid Sanford. Whiskey loose Sanford. And he put it right in my hand. Aye. His boast of an ancient book and a chart of buried treasure reeked of whiskey. Till he flashed that poke of pieces of 8 in the San Francisco saloon, and I took care of the rest. There was no time before I was walking up the gangplank of his ship, the whaling vessel Congo Queen, knocking on the door of the captain's cabin.
Who's there?
Captain Dixon?
Aye. What is this? Fine watch I have that lets strangers board without selling?
Maybe your anchor watch is a little loose, Captain, but I'll tighten it. My name's Love. Jonas Love.
Love, is it? What's your business aboard?
I'm your new first mate.
Where's Sanford?
He won't be coming back.
Sanford jumped ship? I don't believe it.
Jumping for dead, Captain. Shot, sir. Shot in a brawl.
Aye, whiskey, no doubt. I'd warned him. It had to happen someday. You were a friend?
For a time. Whiskey makes all men friends. Or enemies. I shot him.
You shot him? You shoot my mate and you got the sand to come here telling me about it?
I shot him in the smoke of his own gun, Captain. In San Francisco, that's a fair contest. I want his job.
You want his job, eh? You kill a man and ask for his job. What sort do you take me for that I'd take you on in the light of what you tell me?
For an intelligent man, Captain. One who won't pass up a chance to take on a better man than Sanford. You won't find another qualified mate on the California coast.
You got a good deal of talk, Mr. Love, but talk don't run a whaler.
A ship's a ship, sir, whether she runs whale oil or slaves.
Well, now you want to change the diggings. Where's the papers?
Papers don't run a vessel anymore in talk. Here, you'll find I speak the truth.
Well, maybe we can come to terms. Where's your gear?
Sanford won't need his.
What? Mr. Love, you've got an uncommon gall. You kill a man, ask for his job, and now you take his very worldly possessions. I scarce think you'd stop at his wife.
Did he have one?
Well, it's a fair thing he didn't. You're a heartless man, Mr. Love, and I don't admire you for it. But it takes a heartless man to run this crew. I dare say there's worse ones on board. Get your men in hand, Mr. Love. We sail in half the hour. South's the course.
All hands on deck. Bear a hand below there. Starboard watch, man the captain. Port, stand by to make sail. Lively now, men. And
The Congo Queen was 300 tons between her jibs and her spanker and fleece in the teeth of the wind. A 3-masted ship with canvas 5 high and the smell of her trade and her wood. I beat her to windward, cleared the bay, turned her south, and took a fresh wind over her stern, trimmed and sailing free for the end of Sanford's rainbow. Sanford. His berth was mine, the key to his sea chest hung from my neck. Secure inside his iron-bound chest was the proof of his drunken boast. Notes, more coins, green with age, a leather-bound book, and a parchment chart of Spanish legend. All I lacked was the name of the men who were in it with him, but I knew they'd show themselves soon enough. They'd be the ones who hated me most. Meantime, I had the whaling trade to learn. My life to guard against unknown men and a new captain to please. I joined Captain Thixton at the wheel.
I've been expecting you, Mr. Love.
Aye, sir.
Delay the formality, man. Respect is not in your nature.
You're right, Captain. And wrong. What's our destination?
Well, you might as well know you're not just my first officer. You're a confessed killer, and this is the high seas. One false step, and you're my prisoner. The matter is closed.
Closed it is, but not locked, sir. Our destination, Captain.
You go as far as your behavior takes you. We, the Queen, and the rest of my crew hail New Bedford in time. First the Horn and the 60 latitudes, God willing.
60 latitudes, huh? Ice, then.
Aye, ice. But also whales, many and big. Sperm, blues, humpback. We should fill quick with luck. You'll see, Mr. Love. Secure the watch.
Aye, sir.
From now on, it's watch and watch. 4 and 4. Keep 'em moving smart. Tired men don't make trouble. That includes you, Mr. Love.
Watch and watch. 4 and 4 it is, sir. She was a tight ship under Thixton. Still, I added my bit to the squeeze. I drove the crew hard, made 'em hate my guts, and spit at my back. They left me alone, and that's what I wanted. Kept my cabin secure inside or out while I fit Sanford's plan with my own. Oh, how the fool could have waited, I'll never know. The cache of gold was described in his notes. He'd been to the site from the Caribbean side, yet he sailed halfway around the world because he needed 4 men. 4 men who were on board. 4 men who would kill to put hand to my book and my chart. Well, we were fast hauling south. Had to tempt them to show their hand. The bait was the book with some pages cut out, a false rolled chart, and an open hatch. We were in Mexican waters, sailing hard on the wind. I was in my hammock, a tired dog, and sleep was a fitful thing. Hold there. Hold in your tracks, you thieving ape. I groped like a fool for my pistol, and my man got away in the night. He'd come to open Sanford's chest. Next time, he'd come to kill. Another week passed while I studied the crew. 4 men and 30, all keeping their thoughts in their beards. Some were mean, some were meek, some mutinous, some too willing in their work. Under 4 of those beards were Sanford's men. Another 2 days, and Lady Luck sent me to my quarters in the middle of the day. I needed to fill my pipe. Johnson, what brings you to my quarters?
Mr. Love, sir. I was just putting things in order.
I see. Now, come on. Get up on your feet and talk. Come on up. Now, what are you looking for, Johnson?
Well, like I say, I
What
was
are you
just...
hiding in your shirt?
Oh, it's just a book, sir.
Just a book it is, huh? Give it to me. Just a book for certain. And what else? What else in your shirt? A land chart of Panama, is it? You read maps, too, huh, Johnson?
I was just...
Save the lies, Johnson. You're looking for Sanford's secret.
No.
You might as well know that it's mine now. I know you were in it with Sanford.
In with Sanford, Mr. Love. I don't follow.
You will if you hope to make any good from Sanford's plan. Aye, you'll follow me, and the other 3 will, too.
Oh, you're talking in riddles, man.
Riddles, is it, huh? Well, you took the bait good, Johnson. I've been expecting you to come prowling. I set the bait, and you took it. But it's wrong, Johnson. Here's the pages that tell the story, Johnson. Read them.
I don't read, sir. Tanner here, he reads, sir.
I'll read it to you. But listen well. Peleg, Sanford, 1838. It says right here in his own handwriting. Now listen to this. The name of the book, Sir Francis Drake Revived. Calling upon this dull and effeminate age to follow his noble steps for gold and silver.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty thought, isn't it, Johnson?
Right, it's a haunting story, I'm told. Tanner here was to read it to me on wages, sir.
Save the lies, Johnson. Just listen to this, where Sanford marked. Now listen. He keepeth 100 slaves at least in the mines, each slave being bound to bring in daily clear gain, all charges deducted, 3 pesos of gold for himself and 2 for his women. It goes on to say, Johnson, that the daily haul, daily, mind you, was 1,600 pounds sterling. Translated, that's roughly $50,000 every day.
Well...
Now listen. Which he keepeth in certain great chests of 2 feet deep, 3 broad, and 4 long. Just think of it, Johnson. Caskets full of gold. Now, you were in with Sanford, Johnson. What does this mean to us?
Oh, to us, I don't understand, sir. Oh, it's just a tale to amuse. That's all I wanted, sir. The hours are long in the forecastle, sir.
That's enough of your simpering, Johnson. Now, who are the others? It's your boat crew, isn't it? Tannehill, Bigsby, and Alcott?
Why, you call their names with your dying breath.
Be sensible now, man. I'm willing to put in with you. You need a leader, and I need men. And I hold the map and the book. When you're ready to talk sense, fetch your men here. Now, shove off.
Hi, Mr. Love. I shove off.
And Johnson, I'll kill the man on sight I catch near my quarters. Is that clear?
Aye, Mr. Love. We know killing ourselves. You may not see the light of another day.
Motorists, do you realize how many practical improvements science has given you for your car? For example, you get better gasoline because scientific research discovered xylene. Xylene is one of the highest anti-knock components in gasoline history. Xylene gives new high anti-knock qualities, new flashing power to gasoline. But here's the big news. Today, every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene. Let me repeat that. Every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene. Xylene for split-second pickup in traffic, for smooth, knockless power all the time. Moreover, your Richfield dealer offers you a choice of 2 great Richfield gasolines, both containing xylene. Get Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor, or Richfield Ethyl for best results in the highest compression motors. Each is a champion in its class. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Get Richfield gasoline with xylene. And now we return you to Escape.
I let Johnson go because I needed him. I needed his men to be my crew, to sail a ship, to fight a jungle, to move a mine. I thought I could wait till they came to me, but the devil's bait is a gilded hook. When it catches your flesh, you can't shake it loose. So I read and reread and traced and retraced in my mind, and it grew and it grew and it grew, and it said gold. Well, we were south of Mexico, and time was growing short. I went to Johnson on deck and took a desperate move. Johnson?
Aye, sir.
This is your last chance. Show up tonight with your men, or I pick my own and leave you out.
Now, don't be a fool. You'll kill it for all of us.
All but me, Johnson.
Well, I'll take you in if it's all right with my crew, my men.
Your crew, huh? Your boat crew. Just as I thought. Do I use yours or get my own?
We'll talk it out.
I'm losing my patience, Johnson. Bring your men to my cabin at 8 bells, or I get my own.
If the men agree, we'll be there at 8 bells.
It was a long chance, but it worked. And at 8 bells, they came to my cabin. Johnson, Tannehill, Bigsby, and Alcott.
Here we are, Mr. Love.
Come in. Keep quiet. All right, belay the talk. Now gather around the charts. Now, there's one point I want clear. I'm giving orders, and they're not going to be mislaid. I understand. Nobody else. Any man who doesn't like it can talk up now.
Mr. Love, we're taking you in.
You're wrong, Johnson. As Sanford's, legal heir, I've got 9 points of the law right here on this table, this map, and this book, and the know-how.
He's right. Stow the gripes, Johnson. We need a man with learning. How about it, men?
All right, that's settled. Understand, Johnson? All right, close in on this chart. I'll show you where Sanford was wrong. Now, here, right here, was our position to the noon sight. We're approximately 12 degrees, 30 minutes north by 82 degrees, 40 minutes west. See where that puts us? Not over 4 degrees off the coast of Panama, you see?
Aye, man, but you still got to round the horn.
The map's from the other side.
Sure, the Spanish chart shows a bearing from the Caribbean side, but look, carry that bearing on across Panama into the Pacific. Now look where we are.
Oh, we ain't a day away. We don't have to round the horn.
Sanford never thought of that.
No, we don't have to go through with any whaling. Look, between these 2 mountains is a saddle. That's the mine. The bulk of the treasure is shown on the Spaniards' map right here, at the highest point in this defile.
Boy, that ain't a day's march over.
Right. We can forget whaling. We don't have to round the horn, and this side fits my plan much better.
What is your plan about the boats and all?
Boats be hanged. I say, take the ship.
What are you talking about, man?
Mutiny? Call it what you want. This half of the world won't be a healthy place for any of us. I say, take the ship, get the gold, and head southeast. Lands, big lands, new lands, and gold talks in any of them.
You got a good opinion of yourself, love. We're 5 against 25. 26, counting the captain. We can't take ship.
You're wrong, Johnson. You forget we're whalesmen. We've seen whales every day lately. The order was given, 5 boats out after whales would take care of 25 men.
The captain won't take whale till we're south of the Horn. He'll never give the order.
That's the first time you've been right, Johnson. He won't give the order. But I will. 5 boats out, take care of 25 men, and I'll see that it's none of us. 5 boats with salt in their water breakers. And no ship to come home to. Do you follow me? The current will take him to sea. From there on, it's Davy Jones' worry. We get the gold, head south, scuttle the Queen, and as far as everybody knows, all hands are lost. Then it's every man to his own pleasure, with plenty of gold to buy it.
I say we got the right man to lead us.
My odds, then,
He is a smart one.
Before another night falls, men will have us a ship. In a week, we'll have gold for ballast, enough to buy us a kingdom. Now, break it up quiet and mind your actions. As far as Thixton's concerned, there's nothing changed. And I'll still flog the man that fouls an order. Now, lay down to quarters, sharp and quiet. I'll pass the word when the time comes. All we need is a whale, men. 1 whale and the ship is ours. It was a neat plan and it carried fair. The watch changed. Day broke gray. Johnson was at the helm. Bigsby stood lookout high in the fort at gallant yards, all on orders of Jonas Love. Captain Thixton was lashed in his bunk. I saved him to kill him with the loss of his ship. The proud Captain Thixton, a prisoner of Captain Love. For now, we were whalesmen in search of a whale, any whale. It was watch and wait and watch and... Lay to the helm! Aye, sir. Bring her up! Up! Helm! Up on! Up it now! Bear ahead!
Oh, clockwork, love. That's what it is. I've got to hand it to you.
Did you tend to my orders, Johnson, about the water breakers?
And I'd like to see the face of the first thirsty man. I gave him side meat, too. Good salt hogside to whet their thirst.
They won't last 2 weeks. If they're picked up before, it won't make any difference to us.
All we need is a Jolly Roger from our Royal Yards, love.
Not quite, Johnson. Thixton's still with us. Tannehill.
Aye, sir. Carried past, sir.
You got your knife, Tannehill. Thixton's tied in his cabin. Make it fast and sure.
Aye, sir. Fast and sure it is.
Do I bring her about, love?
You'll bring her about when I tell you to, Johnson, and you'll belay the mister when I tell you to, not before. Is that understood? Well, that's it. Bring her about, Johnson. East for south, steady as you go. Our next step is Panama, man. Golden Panama.
It'll pay you to know, love. Now all our stations is equal. It's 4-1 against you. And all of us views the same.
Johnson, it'll pay you to know that the man who crosses me cuts those odds by 1. Now, fill out on your course. The wind took us east and the current went west, carrying before it the crew of the Queen. 5 drifting whaleboats of hopeless men lay at our stern. Our bow, like a finger, points to fortune's door, Panama. A land green-black with tropic growth and our treasure cradled in a mountain nest on our backbone. I put into fair anchorage in the lee of a point, paid off the hook and called my men. We ride out tonight here in this bay, men. Well, there she is, right up the mountain. The low point between those two peaks.
We still some daylight, love. I say move now.
You'll do no saying, Johnson. We move now right enough, but we'll do it on board. We provision the whaleboat for 10 days.
10 days? Why, it scarce looks a league.
That it does, Tannehill, but it's a stormy course. That's jungle growth. We'll have to fight it all the way to the top. And we'll have no more crossing. Bigsby. Look to provisions. Load the whaleboat. Tannehill and Alcott, break out the forge and fashion knives from flensing tools. Make them short in the handle and keen on the edge. You 3 men staying aboard. You'll take up the work till me and Johnson cast off. We'll need our strength.
Us staying aboard?
You take us for
we'll all
fools.
go.
You'll stay aboard. That's an order. A man who thinks different, step up and speak.
You got the map, Mr. Love. The men don't like it that way. Well, what say you, men? It ain't fair.
What's to keep you from going straight out the other side?
Yes, how do we know you're coming back?
Hold it. Aye, I've got the map. You're right. It's not fair that one man should have it. Tannehill, give me your knife.
Aye, sir.
You men don't trust me. You do trust Johnson. That's very well. So? Here, Johnson. Half for you, half for me. Now, does that satisfy you?
Aye. Aye. Johnson's for us, fair enough. But you'd better come back. We'll follow you to the gates of hell if you don't.
It's fools who'd leave a ship unmanned. You'll get your share when we open the trail, Johnson and me. All right, now, turn to. Bear a hand. There's a fortune waiting the dawn. The fools. Simple, arrogant fools. And Johnson, too. Content with a worthless half of a map. Landmarks in plain sight, the last and main bearings stowed safe in my head. Every bearing and distance to the final pace memorized from 1,000 readings. Now to find the starting point. The rock with a face in Sanford's notes. Certain great chests of 2 feet deep, 3 broad, and 4 long. Ponderous heavy. A wall of jungle to cut. I needed these fools. Even Johnson, for a time. Jungle. Lush, rich, gentle. It's a trap, a slimy, stinking, creeping green trap. Hold up, Johnson. Fetch up the water. The bugs. The heat. Green snare. Take the lead, Johnson. No man can keep this up.
I say belay it and rest. We need a strength.
We'll move on, Johnson. We've hacked half a day and we're not a cable's length from the sea. Take the lead.
We'll not last if we hold this pace. Look at the blasted insects. Hanging clouds. I say make camp. Likely tomorrow we'll get our second wind.
We'll get it on the move, Johnson. There's still 3 hours of day. Now take the lead and swing that knife. For 5 killing days, it was hack, slash, hack. Move up the gear, creep on at a tortoise pace. The 6th day, the mountain fanned out on our course, and we rose above that green wall of jungle, and we could see the sea. The masts of the Queen waved gently, not 4 leagues down the slope. The sea breeze caught us and cooled our brow, and the jungle's web thinned, and we rested. We ate and we smoked.
We've passed the worst of it.
Another day at the most, Johnson.
No more.
You look bad, Johnson. Too much for you?
There's a powerful gripe in my back.
Don't be feeling sorry for yourself. I don't feel schooner rig myself. Now take up your gear.
No.
We're moving on.
I can't move on.
You want gold, don't you, Johnson? Fall and you rot in your tracks. There's more for the rest of us. Now move out.
No.
Nothing's stopping me now. The great bearded Johnson with the strength of 2 men. He spent his strength with harboring hate, and he fell to blithering. His big, bloody eyes cast up the trail. Useless he was. Weak and out of his mind.
Chop the lines. She's sounding.
What is it, Johnson? You're drooling black.
She'll get 1,000 barrels if it drops, sir. Sperm whale. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes.
Johnson, do you know me, man?
Aye, Captain Thixton.
You're through, Johnson. I'm moving on. The rock's in sight. I've no time for you now. Let's juice out 50 paces to such a point as that. But there! It's the cave! Johnson's the cave! Sanford's cave, Johnson! My cave! I found it! It's here. Great chests of gold. Johnson, we found it! Chests of it, Johnson! Look, Johnson. I brought back a handful. Gold. Johnson, look, Lord of mercy. Dead he is. Dead of the fever. And yellow as gold. His face, his hands, all yellow like gold. Oh, my hands. No, it's not the blight like Johnson. It's just gold dust. It'll wash off. It's not the blight.
My hands, my limbs, it don't wash off. No. No, no!
It's the devil's bait on a gilded hook. This fever's the devil's breath. I can feel it now. Boiling up my bile, painting me gold. It'll cook out my soul and leave me poor. This fever, this devil's yellow blight.
The good old summertime may be fun for you, but it's no picnic for your car. Hot summer weather and gritty dust can take your car off the road right into the repair shop. That's why it's important to make sure now that your car is safely lubricated. Get protection against wear and breakdown with Richfield All-Point Safety Service. The Richfield gasoline dealer will give your car a careful all-point lubrication job using Rich Lube lithium lubricant, the new premium lubricant that stands up under the toughest use, that wears like iron. Then he'll change your oil to fresh Rich Lube all-weather motor oil, the oil that cleans your motor as it lubricates. And finally, the Richfield dealer will give your car a careful safety check of all the likely trouble spots. So why take chances? Get Richfield All-Point Safety Service from the Richfield gasoline dealer tomorrow. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Escape was produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight has presented Yellow Wake by Bud Nelson. Featured in tonight's cast were Bill Conrad as Love, John Hoyt as Sanford, John Dana as Johnson, Will Gear as Thixton. Also heard were Paul Freese, Stacey Harris, Harry Bartell, and George Offerman Jr. Special music arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You're in India, lying in bed at night, when suddenly a crate, the most deadly poisonous snake in the world, crawls into bed with you. The slightest movement will bring you to a horrible death, from which there is no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape with an unforgettable story of a night of terror in Bombay, as Roald Dahl tells it in his story, Poison. Be listening. Goodbye, then, until this same time, next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York. Marketers of Richfield gasolines with Xylene, Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil, and other famous petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to India, and the story of a man trapped in his bed by a crate, the most deadly, poisonous snake in the world, as Roald Dahl tells it in his terrifying story, Poison.
Listen, it's an awful good story, but to get the point, you got to understand about two things. What kind of a guy Harry Pope was and what kind of a snake a crate is. First, the crate. You spell it K-R-A-I-T. They're in India, the crates are. Little snakes, sometimes not more than 3 or 4 inches long. You have to look real careful if you're going to see one at all. Really almost like a worm. Except that it's the most poisonous snake in the world. It can bite faster than a bumblebee, and when it does, you go up like a firecracker, swell up like a hot water bottle, and in fly the angels. Crate. Tiny little snake. Now about Harry. Harry Pope. Funny guy. He had it in for anybody who wasn't American, who didn't speak his language. He called them foreigners, and he called them that army word, gook. Didn't matter if they were French, Italian, or Japanese. Gook. Foreigner, he'd say. It's kind of buggy on the subject. Funny guy. Well, Harry and me, we got sent out to Bombay on this construction job, and that's where the trouble started. You see, except for the two of us, the crew was made up of local boys. Hindus and Muslims. 40 of them. Harry was like a cat in a room full of dogs. Had his back up every minute. After a month or so, it began to wear him out. Got so his appetite wasn't right. He was smoking 3 and 4 packs a day, and he wasn't getting his sleep. I used to try to straighten him out. Used to tell him he was wrong.
No, Woody, there's no use talking to you.
Listen, Harry, they're all good boys. Why don't you take it easy?
Woody, you and I are good friends, but there are a lot of things you just don't understand.
You ought to take it easy, Harry. They're all human beings, just like you and me.
They're gooks, Woody. Foreigners. Look, think about it this way. How'd you like your sister to marry one of them?
I haven't got a sister, and anyway, you've asked me that before.
Yeah, you see? You won't even make the effort to understand.
Well, that's how it was with Harry, and you know about the crate. Now about what happened. It was June of last year. It was hot and sticky, even though the sun was down. I was putting on a clean shirt to go out.
Oh, man, I'm really beat tonight. What's with you, Woody? What's the clean shirt for?
Going out.
What do you got, a date?
No, I thought I'd stop off at Dr. Ganderby's. He promised he'd show me the photos he made down in the leper colony.
Ganderby?
Yeah. These photos are supposed to be pretty interesting stuff. Well, how about it, Harry? Would you like to come along?
Ganderby? He's a Hindu. A gook. Foreigner. I don't want to spend no evening with a gook. Shoot, not old Harry.
So I went off to the doctor's, and Harry went to bed with a detective story. I had a very interesting evening. Later, old Harry was plenty sorry that he stayed home. I didn't leave the doctor's until around midnight, and when I drove back through the sleeping city, it was very quiet and dark. I thought about the pictures of the lepers I'd seen. I remember thinking, I hope Harry's awake, because I'd like to tell him about those pictures. And when I got home, I was glad to see the light in his room was still burning.
Harry, you up?
I didn't get an answer. Probably fell asleep reading.
Harry, you awake, Harry?
Woody.
Harry, boy, what's the matter, kid?
Stop, Woody. Take off your shoes.
I couldn't tell what was the matter, but I knew he was serious, whatever it was about, so I did what he wanted. He was in bed, under his netting, with a reading light on, his book on the floor. He lay quite still, and the sheet came halfway up his chest. He was wearing those corny pajamas of his with the big checks all over them. And the pajamas were soaked in the sweat that was rolling off his face. He lay like a corpse, flat on his back, with his hands lying dead on the bed. His hands, even the backs of them, were sweating. His eyes looked like he was watching somebody saw his leg off.
Woody, what's the matter, boy?
It's a crate.
Crate? Where?
For Mary's sake.
Where? Where's the crate?
In here.
Under the netting?
No. Under the sheet.
Where'd it bite you?
It hasn't. Yet.
Where under the sheet?
Right on my belly.
Holy son.
You can wake it up if you don't cut out that yellow.
How'd it get in there?
I don't know. Came up under the netting, I guess. Or it's been in the bed all day.
Is it a big one?
No. Crate don't have to be big. Looked about 3 or 4 inches. Come along my side. I didn't move. It went under the sheet. One of them folds. One of them wrinkles there over my belly.
How long ago did it come?
Hours. Hours and hours and days and weeks. Woody, I've been waiting a year for you to get home.
You must be sleeping in there, huh?
Yeah. I think it is.
All right, now listen, Harry. Maybe it'll wake up and go away. Go home or something, huh?
I can't wait, Woody. I've been lying here scared I'd move sudden and wake it up.
Yeah, you're scared and it'll bite.
I've been lying here scared to death I'd cough.
All right, don't you worry about a thing, Harry. I know just what to do.
Where you going with it? Don't leave me.
The thing was to be ready to cauterize the bite right away. I'd heard about one method. I went out to the kitchen, and I got a whole fistful of those big kitchen matches, and I took them back to the bedroom, arranged them all with the heads together, held them like you'd hold a torch.
What are you going to do? What are the matches for?
Now, listen, Harry, here's how it goes. These will cauterize, see? So we count 3, flip back the sheet, and you jump out of bed. Now, you follow me?
You're out of your mind.
No, listen, Harry. If the crate bites you, I strike the bundle and press it against the spot, and it burns out the poison, see? Well, the matches...
Get away from me. You're a bubble-headed maniac.
No, Harry, I'm only trying to...
Listen, Woody, take your matches and your bright ideas and get the heck out of here. Call the doctor.
The doctor? I never thought of that.
Now get to it.
Okay, Harry. Who do you want, Ganderby or Forsyth?
Forsyth. Things are bad enough without you got to bring that gook in here.
I dug through the telephone book and I found Dr. Matson B. Forsyth's number and I dialed it.
This is the residence of the Dr. Matson B. Forsyth, please.
Yeah, let me speak to the doctor. It's very urgent.
Who is calling, please?
Arthur Woods.
Who?
Woods. Arthur Woods.
Spell, please.
Woods. W.
W.
O.
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 You have already said O. I have already written O. Have the kindness to give me the next letter, please.
O. It's O after O.
Please?
Look, my name is Woods.
Spell, please.
W. O. O. D.
W-O-O. Aha.
D. S. Woods.
Woods. W-O-O-D-S. Mr. Woods.
That's right. That's just right. Now, let me speak to the doctor, please.
Sorry. Doctor not in. Call tomorrow.
Across the room, Harry lay very still, sweating, trying to keep every muscle relaxed. His face was beginning to twitch a little. I was scared. If that twitch should spread... I called the doctor's house again.
Please, I do not understand.
Look, I said if you don't tell me where the doctor is, I'm going to come over there and pull your arms off, and then I'm going to take you by the neck.
The doctor is at the club, please.
What club?
The country club. Ring 673.
Harry lay very still, fighting the twitches, trying to keep from jumping out of his skin, while I waited for the bartender at the club to locate Dr. Forsyth. After about 5 minutes and nothing, I got this.
Are you there?
Listen, Doctor, you got to get over here right away. This is Arthur Woods, and my partner. He's got a snake in the bed with him. Doctor?
Would you mind repeating that, old boy?
I said snake. He's got a snake in the bed with him.
Snake? Oh, Jolly. I say, who is this? This is Captain Smart speaking.
Please, Doctor, you got to get over here right away. It's urgent.
Smart you can. You don't fool me. Not for an instant, you don't.
Please, Doctor.
Snake in bed.
Listen, is this Dr. Forsyth speaking?
Yeah, of course not. It's Colonel Harcourt.
Oh, well, let me speak to the doctor, please.
Oh, but you can't, old fellow.
Why not?
Why, he's jolly well passed out, don't you know?
Passed out.
Like a mackerel. Snake in the...
Listen, Harry, you got to forget all this prejudice stuff. Ganderby's your only chance.
No, he's a gook.
He went to Oxford, Harry.
He's a gook.
It's him or the Undertaker.
He's a gook.
I'm going to call him, Harry.
All right. Go ahead, call him. But he's a gook.
I called him. When I mentioned crate, he was quiet for a good 10 seconds, and then he said he'd be right over. And he was within 5 minutes. He was wearing felt slippers, and he moved silently into the bedroom. He was carrying his black satchel, and when I saw the lamplight glinting softly in his steel-rimmed spectacles, saw his wise, gentle eyes, his bald brown head, I thought to myself, why, he looks just like Mahatma Gandhi. He looked silently at Harry and smiled encouragingly. Harry looked at him, looked at me, and looked away.
Now, first we must very carefully remove the netting from about the bed. Mr. Pope, I want you to pay no attention to us. You are to concentrate on being very quiet, on letting the little snake sleep. It is a very little snake, and it is very tired. You must tell yourself this, and you must believe it is necessary for it to sleep.
Yeah.
Mr. Wood, help me lift the netting. Very slowly.
Yeah.
Up and up. Good.
What are you going to do for me?
Think about the little snake.
What do you think I'm thinking about? What are you going to do for me?
The snake. It is here?
It's in one of those folds over his abdomen, Doctor.
Now we all know where it is.
Pretend you are the mother of the little snake. You are keeping it warm. It is sleeping. That is good.
Just so as it don't wake up and want breakfast.
You joke? That is good.
I wish I was back home in the good old USA.
Now then.
What are you going to do, Doctor?
I have a serum here. You will inject it into the blood of Mr. Pope. Then, as he puts it, the little snake may breakfast to his heart's content without harm to Mama.
His hands were brown and slender and astonishingly deft. He poked the hypodermic into a capsule of thick yellowish stuff, the serum, and then with infinite care he drew the plunger slowly and steadily upward. The glistening chamber filled. He withdrew the needle, laid the hypodermic down, and then with all the gentleness in the world, he began to fold back Harry's sleeve. It was as though he were folding rare old lace. He inched the sleeve carefully, under and up Harry's arm until the vein came into view.
I'm going to fasten a tourniquet on your arm now. It will be just above the elbow. Do not move your arm. Do not twitch your muscle.
Gently he tightened the rubber tourniquet, and Harry's arm began to flush dark. The vein began to swell blue and tight. Harry kept his eyes on the ceiling.
Now I'm going to insert the needle in the vein. You must not react. By that I mean you must not tense your abdominal muscles. Believe me, Mr. Pope, this will not hurt.
Very carefully he placed the syringe almost flat against the arm, slid the needle in sideways through the skin and into the blue vein, slid it slowly but so firmly that it went in smooth as a knife going into a cheese.
Doc, shh. You're good, aren't you, Doc?
You must believe that.
You're not going to let me die, are you, Doc?
I'm your friend. You must believe that.
Are you, Doc? You won't let me die?
No, I will not let you die. Now, be still and think about that.
With all the care in the world as he had pushed the needle into the vein, now he pressed the plunger down, pressed the serum through the needle and into Harry Pope's body. I watched Harry. His eyes were on the wise, gentle face of Dr. Ganderby. His eyes wanted desperately to believe what Ganderby had told him. Now the hypodermic was empty, and slowly it was withdrawn. And then slowly the deft, graceful little hands loosened the rubber tourniquet. And then Ganderby looked up, met Harry's eyes, and smiled. Harry tried to smile back, but the smile jumped and twitched and died.
You're taking care of me, huh, Doc?
Yes, my son. Now you must be still while the serum is pumped through your body. Be very still and be very assured. I'm your friend.
Oh.
The serum will save you. You will escape harm.
He beckoned to me, and I followed him out of the room and out onto the dark porch. The air was heavy and hot. Ganderby stared out at the blackness, drummed his fingers softly on the railing.
Your friend is in grave danger.
Yeah, but the serum. You gave him the serum.
I gave him the serum.
It isn't any good.
It is the finest known to medical science, and it is worthless.
To most of us, science is something strange and mysterious. We think of magic medicines and supersonic planes. But here's a scientific achievement that's as real as your car and as near as your Richfield dealer. It's xylene, one of the highest anammox gasoline components ever discovered by scientific research. And xylene can benefit you today, because every gallon of Richfield gasoline now contains xylene. Xylene to give your car that smooth, knockless power that eats up the miles. Xylene for that swift, eager response you need in traffic. Furthermore, there's a Richfield gasoline to fit your motor. Your Richfield dealer offers 2 great Richfield gasolines, both with xylene. Get Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor. Or Richfield Ethyl. Ethyl at its best for top results in highest compression motors. Get Richfield Gasoline tomorrow. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. And now we return you to Escape.
So there it was. Harry Pope, the man who had been an enemy of anyone and everyone who didn't come from his country or speak his language, was now halfway through death's door. And his only hope lay in a Dr. Ganderby of another race, another creed, another country, and another color. Now, for the first time in his life, Harry had made a gesture of friendship toward a person of another race. First time. And it seemed to me the last.
No, my friend. The serum is worthless.
What can we do then? The snake is bound to wake sooner or later. Harry will move. He won't be able to help himself, and the snake will strike.
We must think.
Look, I'll shoot it. I can hold the gun low and flat so that even if I hit Harry, it won't be a penetrating wound, and I'll blow the snake sheet and all. Clear the bed, huh?
But you don't even know which of the many folds and creases in that sheet is the harbor of the snake.
Yeah.
You might shoot the air.
Yeah.
You would most certainly wake the snake then.
No, we can't do that.
I think I have a solution, Mr. Wood.
Yeah?
We will anesthetize the snake. Yes. We will use nitrous oxide or ether or chloroform. I think the last. Chloroform, yes.
We put the snake out right while he's lying on Harry? Is that the idea?
That is it, Mr. Woods. Now, if you will please drive quickly down to my house, my boy will show you where I keep my supplies. The chloroform is in a bottle with an orange label.
Orange label?
Yes. Bring it back as quickly as you can. I will stay with Mr. Pope and try to keep him assured.
He seems to like you.
We all like the doctor when we are sick.
I drove it as fast as I could. The houseboy at the doctor's thought I was a madman at first, but then he decided in my favor, showed me where the stuff was. I found the bottle with the orange label, smelled it to make sure, and then took off back to the house. I eased the car up the driveway and tiptoed into the bedroom.
You're my friend, Doctor? My pal?
Yes, I am your friend, and I am not going to let any harm come to you.
Here's Woody. He's my friend, too, Doc.
Here's the stuff, Doctor.
Woody, I've been an awful dope all my life. You know that, Woody?
It's okay, Harry. You're going to be okay from now on.
The doc here. My friend here. I didn't like him when he first came into the room. Why? Because he wasn't an American or even an Englishman. What do you know about that, huh? He's my friend.
It's okay, Harry. You're going to be okay now, boy.
I've been a prize dope.
Mr. Woods, you have to help me.
Right. He pulled a prescription pad out of his case, tore the cardboard backing off, and twisted it into a neat little funnel. He laid this on the edge of the bed. And then he took the piece of hollow rubber tubing which had been used as a tourniquet, and he began to slide it into the sheet. It went in where the sheet ended, across Harry's chest, and he slid it down. He slid it slowly, so slowly that although I was watching it, I didn't see it move. Hours seemed to crawl by. The tube inched invisibly on and down, down and down, past the unseen buttons of his jacket, past the unseen cord to his trousers, and then it stopped. Ganderby had sent it by a route which did not cross any of the creases in the sheet. He was being very careful not to prod the snake with it. He was sweating, too, now, sweating and biting his lip with his teeth. Funny, I remember now, one was gold. I remember staring at it while he inched that tube.
Now the funnel. I fit it into the end of the tube, and we are ready. Mr. Pope, this is going to be very cold. The evaporation of the chloroform will cause a sharp lowering of the temperature. You must be prepared for this. It will take rather a long time, another factor for which you must prepare yourself. The snake is a reptile, and reptiles do not react quickly to the anesthetics which are intended for the use of warm-blooded animals. Bear these things in mind. Are you ready?
Sure. Friend.
He opened the bottle and began to drip the stuff into the funnel. Slowly, very slowly, drop by drop, the clear liquid entered the tube and traveled the long, dark route to Harry Pope's stomach, where the crate lay sleeping. Drop by drop, a pale, swirling vapor hung over the funnel. Down there on the sheet, where the tube ended, a wet gray patch began to spread, the chloroform spreading and evaporating, spreading and evaporating. The room began to reek of it. And I remembered other places and other times. Hospitals, operations, the death of loved ones, smell of chloroform. Harry began to twitch now. His nose. He seemed to be in agony.
Woody.
Harry, what is it?
I think I'm gonna sneeze.
Don't do it, boy. Hang on, Harry. You gotta hang on. Don't. Ganderby looked at Harry's face. He reached up, pressed his knuckle against some nerve on Harry's upper lip, and the agonized look vanished. The relentless dripping of the chloroform continued. Harry was getting cold. I could see goose flesh along his arms, across the top of his chest where the jacket was open. Ganderby looked at this and stopped pouring.
That is enough. I think our little friend should be thoroughly unconscious now. Mr. Pope, you must remain very still. We are going to remove the sheet now.
Anything you say, Doctor.
Mr. Woods, you take the other side. We will have to do this ever so carefully.
We each took a side of the hymn. I watched Ganderby and did everything that he did. Harry's arms were still flat on the bed, pointing toward his feet. We inched the sheet under and free of these. It was rough, because we had to do it without disturbing the main area of the sheet. When it was free of his arms, we began to raise it slowly, gathering the material in our hands as we progressed ever so slowly down Harry's chest. We reached the end of his jacket. No sign of the snake. My hands were beginning to shake. Ganderby paused while I turned my head away for air. The odor of chloroform was stifling. And then we went on, slowly, thread by thread, raising the sheet and easing it away, down past the cord of his pajamas, and down, and still no sign of the snake. I'd stopped looking for it by now. I was concentrating on keeping my arms from shaking. And then, quite suddenly, we were done. Ganderby dropped the sheet on the floor. Harry lay on his back, not moving, but watching us with wide, terrorized eyes. Ganderby squinted at both sides of Harry, at his legs.
Where is it?
It is not as you suppose on the outside of your pajama pants. It must be up one of the legs.
Harry, no! Stop it!
I don't see it.
Kick those tatters of cloth, the remains of his pants.
No, nothing.
The bed. Under the bed?
Yeah. Move your feet, Harry. Harry, move your feet. No, there's nothing.
Mr. Pope, are you quite certain you saw a snake? Sometimes when we are very tired, we find our autosuggestive faculties run a bit out of hand.
Are you calling me a liar?
Why, no. I merely say that the autosuggestive...
Are you telling me I'm a liar?
Harry.
Why, you lousy little quack. Call me a liar. You stink a little Hindu witch doctor with your fancy pants, Tom.
Harry!
Come in here sticking me full of your cheap, no-good medicine.
Harry, don't!
Pour that freezing cold up all over
Harry,
me.
take it easy. Harry's your friend.
My friend? That little hunk of foreign trash, my friend. Why, where I come from, where you guys live, khaki like him for busboys.
You make a mistake. You are wrong.
Yeah, for busboys, for waiters, for nothing. You're a foreigner. You're a gook. You're a nothing. Why, I ought to beat you to a bloody pulp. You and your chloroform. You and your stuff about friendship and Mama Snake. And I must make out like I like you. I ought to split your head wide open, you gook! You gook! You gook! You gook!
Please, Doctor, forgive him. He's been under a great strain. He doesn't mean it.
A great strain, yes. He needs a good holiday. Good night, Mr. Woods.
That's all. I couldn't tell this if old Harry was still alive. Poor old Harry. He didn't die in India. He died in Chicago, in the Loop. Got run over by a taxi cab. The driver was third-generation Irish, a real 100% white American. Maybe that means something, I don't know. Poor old Harry.
Believe it or not, but the very life of your car depends on oil. Without oil, your motor would grind itself to pieces in a matter of minutes. That's why you need an oil that stands up under every driving condition. That's why you need Rich Lube all-weather motor oil. Rich Lube is refined 100% from the finest Pennsylvania crude oil ever discovered. That's your guarantee that Rich Lube won't burn up even under the terrific heat of hard summer driving. Its tough, long-lasting oil film is your faithful watchdog. It protects your motor every mile you drive. You can depend on it. Moreover, Rich Lube motor oil combats carbon and other harmful deposits by its special cleansing action. It cleans as it lubricates your motor. Keep your motor young, keep your motor clean. See your Richfield gasoline dealer tomorrow. Ask him to change your oil to Rich Lube all-weather motor oil. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight is presented Poison by Roald Dahl and adapted for radio by James Poe. Featured in tonight's cast were Jack Webb as Woody, Bill Conrad as Harry, Jane Novello as Gandabai, and Charlie Long as the houseboy. Special music arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You are lost in the headhunter territory of New Guinea, fighting your way through the swamps in search of gold. With you is a giant brute of a man and his beautiful wife, who doesn't care which of you is killed or who kills him, and from whose evil treachery there is no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape with an exciting story of evil and violence in the deadly swamps of New Guinea, as Jules Archer tells it in Two Came Back. Goodbye, then, until the same time next week when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot Ralston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy have been locked in a building by two criminals who have blocked their only means of escape by pouring sodium-potassium alloy on the stairs. The liquid metal has burst into flame on contact with the air.
Commander, the heat's terrible. We're going to face something worse than heat when the automatic fire extinguishing system starts to work. But, sir, the water will put the fire out and we can escape. Not with this alloy, Happy. It burns in air, but when water hits it, it explodes. What? The second that spray starts working, this whole building will be blown to bits.
We'll be back in just a moment with today's Space Patrol story, The Lady from Venus.
Space Patroller Dick Tufeld, gang, speaking to you from an atomic power plant on Mars. They're having trouble getting power, but I think I found the trouble. Now, listen to this main power generator. Sounds pretty weak, doesn't it? My guess is this. They've been using ordinary fuel. So let's see what happens when I put in this super fuel. Wow, listen to that power now. Supercharging does it. And, gang, when you roll out of bed in the morning, you're just like this generator. You need fuel because you haven't had any for about 12 hours. But listen, don't settle for ordinary fuel. Get supercharged like Buzz Corey does with a good breakfast. Eat the super cereals in the checkerboard packages. Now, Rice Chex and Wheat Chex are the super cereals with that modern bite-sized design for super easy eating. Rice Chex is bite-sized shredded rice, triple toasted. And Wheat Chex is bite-sized shredded wheat, baked crisper than a cracker, super power in every bite. Now, remember, pulling up to the breakfast table is like pulling into a filling station. So get supercharged every morning. Pick up your cereal bowl and say,
"Fill out, Mom, Wheat Chex. Fill out, Mom, Rice Chex."
In Commander Corey's central office on Terra, a tall, middle-aged man anxiously paces the floor while Cadet Happy checks the Space Patrol search mission reports.
There are some magazines on the table, Mr. Stratton.
Beg pardon?
I said if you want to read, there are some magazines.
Oh, no, thank you, Cadet. Is that clock correct?
Yes, it is, Mr. Stratton.
Are you sure?
It's a uranium clock, sir. It gives the correct universal star time within a millionth of a second.
Commander Corey did say 10:30, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
It's 10:40 now.
Oh, here's the commander now.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Stratton.
Oh, that's all right, Commander.
The Secretary General and the staff have gone over your application and the reports of the Commission.
Yes?
It's been approved. You can go ahead with that atomic power plant.
Oh, splendid.
These papers authorize you to obtain fissionable materials for your atomic breeder reactor.
Thank you.
I suppose you're blasting off to Venus right away and get your plant into operation.
Oh, I have a few matters to clear up first in my Terra office. Goodbye, Commander. And, Cadet, thank you for your courtesy.
Oh, that's all right, Mr. Stratton. Goodbye.
Congratulations, Mr. Stratton.
Oh? What can I do for you?
Why, Mr. Stratton, you don't recognize me.
Why, Miss Bennett, forgive me, but you look so different.
Don't tell me I've aged that much in 5 years.
Oh, no, it's not that. It's
I'm a blonde now instead of a brunette.
Oh, yes, that's it, of course, your hair.
And I dress more expensively than I did when I worked for you.
I always thought you dressed very nicely, Miss Bennett.
Why so formal, Edward? On Mars, you used to call me Elspeth, the lady from Venus.
What are you doing now, Elspeth?
Oh, that's better. Well, right now I'm in the manufacturing business on my own.
Well, we're competitors, eh?
No, not entirely, Edward. In fact, I'm actually interested in becoming one of your customers.
Splendid. We parted on very unpleasant terms, as I recall. I'm glad you're willing to let bygones be bygones.
Yes, and I was delighted to hear that the Secretary General gave you the go-ahead for your reactor on Venus.
Why, I just came from Space Patrol headquarters myself. How did you know about it so soon?
Oh, I know a lot of things about you, Edward. I was one of the people questioned by the Space Patrol security agent.
Evidently, your replies were favorable. Thank you.
How soon will your plant be in operation?
It'll take 3 weeks to get into active production.
Good, then I can count on you for a shipment of plutonium in less than a month. Oh, I'm not joking, Edward. I'm ready to pay you a fair amount of credits for a small percentage of your plutonium output.
You have a United Planets authorization to buy it?
Oh, no. That's why I have to get it from you.
But I can't sell it to you. I can sell you power, but not plutonium or other fissionable materials. It's illegal.
Stratton, how long do you think you'd be permitted to operate that plant if I should go to Space Patrol with certain evidence? Evidence of those shady deals on Mars 5 years ago?
You know I had nothing to do with those. You engineered them behind my back.
Yes, but the evidence I have still points to you, not to me. I've been keeping it, Edward, for just such an opportunity as this.
You know I've got to account for every ounce of plutonium.
Surely you can find some way to get around the regulations. You want to keep that plant, don't you?
That's blackmail, Elspeth.
Blackmail? When I'm paying you for the plutonium? Well, that's unfair.
I never thought you'd stoop to anything like this.
You'll send the plutonium to the Elbin Company on Mars. There's a fake company I've organized to receive certain illegal materials.
So you're operating on Mars?
No. I just want to be sure the plutonium's hard to trace. For your protection as well as mine. I'm still the lady from Venus. So I'll see you in a month. Remember, I'll be expecting my shipment in a month. Goodbye for now, Ed.
You know what I'm going to do when we get to Lake Azure, Commander?
What, Happy?
I'm going to go for a swim, and then I'm going to the club and have a steak that thick. And
Wait a minute, Happy. There's one thing I forgot to tell you when we blasted off from Terra.
What's that, sir?
Officially, this is a pleasure trip. Unofficially, we're on official duty.
Huh? I'm all confused.
You remember the man Stratton who was in my office about a month ago? The fellow who was authorized to operate an atomic reactor plant on Venus?
Yes, sir. I remember Mr. Stratton. He ought to be producing by now.
He's in some sort of trouble. We're going to Lake Azure and see if we can clear it up.
What kind of trouble?
Well, he's afraid to tell me by spaceophone, so I arranged to visit him at his cottage on the north shore of the lake.
Oh, then the swim and the steak are out.
Until after we talk to Mr. Stratton. Then we'll see about the swim and steaks. Because in the long run, I want to be sure that everybody thinks we're visiting Venus for pleasure.
Just a minute. Oh, Elspeth.
Yes, Edward. I heard you were resting here at Lake Azure after getting your plant into operation, so I thought I'd pay you a visit. Well, aren't you going to ask us in? Mr. Stratton, this is my assistant, Ivan Alman.
How do you do?
Hello.
Shake hands with him, Edward, or Ivan will think you don't like him. He's very sensitive.
Yeah. Shake, huh?
Easy, Ivan. Mr. Stratton will probably need his right hand to correct a little mistake he made.
Mistake?
Yes. One of our representatives inside your plant informed us that you shipped a crate to the Elben Company on Mars yesterday.
That's right, I did. I followed your instructions.
Yeah, except you didn't put plutonium in the crate.
What a waste of time and money it would be for us to pick up that crate of worthless metal and haul it back to Venus.
Worthless metal?
Yes. So I brought Ivan with me to persuade you to correct this oversight.
You like me to work him over, Miss Bennett?
Well, that's up to Mr. Stratton.
Yes, I'll correct the oversight.
Good. But the next time you make a mistake, Ivan will work you over, as he calls it. And I'll turn my evidence over to the Space Patrol.
It won't happen again.
See that it doesn't. Come on, Ivan.
All right, Miss Bennett.
All right, Ivan. Let's get back with our water cruiser.
Miss Bennett, look. There is another water cruiser pulling out to Stratton's wharf.
Yes, men in uniform. Quick, get over behind those bushes before they see us.
From here, they look like space patrolmen.
Exactly what they are. It's lucky we beached our cruiser down at the cove.
What are they coming here for?
We're going to find out. Get in the bushes. We can watch from here.
Hadn't we better get to the cruiser and shove off?
Wait, Ivan. The tall one's Commander Corey.
Yeah. I heard at the hotel that he was due in today for a rest. That Space Patrol High Brass has it pretty soft.
If he's here for a rest, why would he come directly to see Stratton? It looks very suspicious to me. If he's double-crossed...
They are on the wharf now. Let's get going.
No. Wait till they get in the house. Then we'll slip up and see if we can hear what's going on.
Oh, Mr. Stratton, we didn't see anybody.
And there was no boat at the wharf.
Well, they must have come here in a surface car, then.
They could have, all right, along the Lakeshore Road.
Who were these people?
Elspeth Bennett and a man named Ivan Almond. They're the reason I asked you to come here. They're trying to force me to sell them plutonium illegally.
I see.
One of their spies in my plant found out about a fake shipment I tried to trick them with, so they came here to threaten me.
Threaten you? With violence, you mean?
Yes, and... Well, Commander, I'm going to tell you the whole story. It may mean that the government might take my license away, but I'll not be blackmailed into committing a crime.
Blackmail? How could they? Your record's clean.
Well, let me give you the facts. This Elspeth Bennett worked for me 5 years ago on Mars. Without my knowledge, she put over several very dishonest deals. And here's exactly what she did. In order to make it look as though I were responsible, she faked a series of orders.
Fool, he's blabbing the whole story.
Maybe Corey will not believe him, huh?
The Space Patrol will investigate us, and we can't afford that. At any rate, we can't get any plutonium from Stratton now.
Let's get out of here before Corey comes out.
If Corey finds our plant, we're finished. Ivan, we've got to take care of Corey, the cadet, and Stratton.
I can't handle all three of them. They are armed.
I'll fix it so you can take the Space Patrolman by surprise. You wait in the bushes near the lakeshore. I'll pretend to be in trouble. While they're rescuing me, you can jump out and overpower them.
You know, Commander, somehow I think Mr. Stratton was telling the truth about being framed.
Well, so do I, Happy. If he weren't fairly honest, he could have sold radioactive materials illegally. Yet he's willing to risk losing his plant.
Help! Help!
Commander, listen.
It's a woman. She's fallen into the lake. Come on, Happy.
Save me, I can't swim.
We're coming, lady. Here, I'll jump in, sir.
Oh, wait, Happy. She isn't far out. Grab the end of this stick. That's it. Get a good grip. You're going to be all right. Just hang on. We'll pull you in.
Oh, thank goodness you heard me calling.
I've got her, sir. Watch the edge of the bank, Happy. It's not very solid.
That's how I fell in.
Here, I'll give you a hand, Happy. We'll have you out in just a second.
Oh, I didn't realize the water was so deep, so close to the shore.
There you are. Now, don't try to get up for a while. Just rest.
And you rest too, Colby!
Hey, what's the big idea?
I got them both, Miss Bennett, just like you said.
Oh, there's no time for gloating, Ivan. Go in the house, get Stratton and bring him out here.
Well, maybe I better finish Corey and the cadet now. Huh?
Give Stratton a chance to get away? No. Somebody's going to find 3 bodies here by the lake. Corey, the cadet, and Stratton. And they'll find the evidence against Stratton in Corey's pocket.
Yeah, but the evidence is fake.
Well, of course it is, but no one will suspect it. It'll be obvious to everyone that Stratton did away with him to keep from being exposed.
How are you going to explain Stratton?
Why, Corey wounded him in the fight. Now, get Stratton.
Suppose the cadets come too while I'm gone.
Either one of them moves, this heavy stick will take care of them.
We'll be back with Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, gang, what do you need for a good morning and a good start? A nourishing breakfast with rice checks or wheat checks. That's what. The super cereals that help to supercharge you. Here's a chance to show you exactly what I mean. Some of the fellas here in the neighborhood are having a race. They're running right in this direction, and way out in front is Jim Bridwell, a boy that makes it a rule to eat a good breakfast with the super cereals. Listen, here they come. And let me tell you, Jim is going to win because he's supercharged.
I won!
There, Jim did win, which just goes to show you that to be a winner, you have to eat a winner's breakfast. So latch on quick, gang, to Rice Chex and Wheat Chex, the super cereals that help to supercharge you.
Hi, Space Patroller.
Hi, Jim. Nice job of running you did there.
Supercharged, that's me.
That's what I was telling the gang, that you eat the super cereals.
Sure do. Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. You just can't find another cereal like them.
Right you are, because they're the only modern bite-sized cereal anywhere.
And talk about delicious. Boy.
Get them today, Space Patrollers. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex. Edward Stratton, operator of an atomic reactor plant on Venus, is being blackmailed by a former employee, Elspeth Bennett, into selling plutonium illegally. Buzz and Happy went to Lake Azure on Venus to get Stratton's report and were knocked unconscious by Elspeth's assistant, the burly Ivan Almond. Now, while Ivan goes to bring Stratton out of his lakeside cottage, Buzz and Happy regain consciousness to find Elspeth standing over them with a heavy club.
Don't get any ideas about rushing me. I've got you covered.
Commander, look. She's holding the same stick we used to pull her out of the water.
If you think I won't use it, just make a move to get up. Oh, Cadet, what are you looking so pop-eyed about?
Look, right over your head. There's a snake hanging from that tree limb.
Oh, no, really? Don't try any childish tricks on me.
He's right, Miss Bennett. It's a poisonous snake.
Oh, who do you think you're fooling?
We're not fooling.
You better move, Miss Bennett.
And you'd better not, Commander.
It's ready to strike.
And so am I.
Look out, Commander.
I warned you, Commander. Let go of that stick.
I was hoping you'd swing at me. Now, give me that paw. I don't want to hurt you. There.
If you hadn't ducked, I'd have fixed you good.
Yeah, and if the commander hadn't yanked you forward, something would have fixed you for good. Look what's on that branch.
It is a snake. Oh.
I've got her.
1 minute she's swinging a club at us, and the next she faints dead away. Women are sure temperamental.
At least this one is.
You know, Commander, if that snake had bitten Miss Bennett, I'm afraid it would have been one sick snake.
This is no time for jokes, Happy. We've got to save Stratton. Come on. I hope we're in time.
Commander.
Stratton, are you all right?
Yes, I'm all right.
Where's Ivan?
Oh, he saw you coming, hit me, and then ran out the back door.
Stratton, Miss Bennett is out by the lake. Watch her till we get back. Come on, Happy. Let's see if we can pick up Ivan's trail.
Wait, Ivan.
Miss Bennett, I thought they captured you. I saw Corey and the cadet run toward the cottage.
No. Corey struck me and thought I was unconscious. Ivan, did you finish Stratton?
No. I didn't have a chance. Corey and the cadet arrived too soon. Miss Bennett, we'd better get in the boat and shove off. Corey may have trailed me through the brush.
All right, let's get across the lake to our spaceship. Help me into the boat.
This brush sure is thick. Yes. Some of these small branches are broken. Ivan's heading for the lake.
Do you think he'll try to swim it, sir?
He might. He might have had a boat beached along here.
Commander, look at these footprints. They lead right out to the water.
There's two sets, a man's and a woman's.
Miss Bennett must have come out of her faint.
Hey, look out there, halfway across the lake.
A water cruiser with 2 people in it.
They're going at full speed.
By the time we got to our boat at the wharf, well, they'd be out of sight.
Get back to Stratton's cottage and space a phone an alarm.
I'm sorry that Bennett woman got away. I got to the lake shore, she was gone.
Don't worry, Mr. Stratton. The commander's alerting the lake patrol. She won't get very far.
I think she was planning to destroy us all in cold blood. Elspeth's always been a determined woman. But I had no idea she was so utterly ruthless.
I just talked to the manager of the Lake Azure Hotel. Neither Ivan nor Miss Bennett were registered there. But the manager recognized their descriptions. They've been hanging around there the last couple of days.
They must have been picking up information.
I've alerted the Lake Patrol and Venus City headquarters. Mr. Stratton, do you have any idea where Miss Bennett's factory is?
No, other than she hinted at somewhere here on Venus.
So what's the name of it?
I don't even know that. I was supposed to ship the plutonium to the Elbin Company on Mars. It's a fake outfit she uses just to acquire illegal materials.
The Elbin Company. Chances are she must do quite a bit of business under that name. I'll have Space Patrol units contact all spaceports and shipping centers to see if there's any freight on hand for the Elbin Company. Mr. Stratton, you'd better come with us to Venus City. Until we capture Elspeth Bennett and Ivan, your life is in danger.
Miss Bennett, the plants are in the other direction. You are way off vector.
We're not going to the plant right now. We're going to Venus City to pick up some freight.
What for?
There's an electromagnetic pump waiting to be picked up, and it's got the Elbin Company name on it. Sooner or later, Corey's going to trace us through the Elbin Company.
But, Miss Bennett, we can't get a magnetic pump in this ship. It's too small.
We'll hire a surface truck from the warehouse and drive to the plant. There's another ship there. We'll pick up some documents I need and then blast off for Jupiter. Corey'll never find us there.
We're about 2 minutes out of Venus City, sir. Shall I contact Space Control?
I'll handle it, Hap.
Space Patrol Headquarters, Venus City, calling Commander Corey.
Corey here, go ahead.
Commander, we've already got a development on that Elbin Company checkup.
Good, let's have it.
Warehouse number 3 has had a large piece of machinery on hand assigned to the Elbin Company. Electromagnetic pump was picked up just a few minutes ago.
Does anybody at the warehouse know where the Elbin Company is located?
No, not exactly, but from other dealings, they think it's southeast of Venus City, out toward the Topaz River. A man and a woman rented a big Atomo surface truck from the warehouse.
Get the Atomo truck registration number. Alert all highway patrol units to watch for it, and not to stop it, just report its location and direction.
Yes, Commander.
Corey out. Well, we won't land at Venus City, Happy. We'll cruise around till we get a report on that truck.
I've got the Atomo truck in the viewscope, sir. It's the only vehicle on the highway for miles.
Well, that must be it, then. Check that chart of the Topaz River region.
Yes, sir.
What manufacturing concerns are marked there?
Well, there's only one, sir, but it doesn't say what it is.
No. When the truck arrives, we'll be there.
You know, Miss Bennett, I've got to admit I didn't think much of this plan at first. But we sure got Corey off our trail now.
With that electromagnetic pump out of the warehouse, there's nothing on Venus to give him a hint where our plant is.
What about the spaceship we left at the freight yard?
The false registration will throw Corey even further off the trail.
Do you want to go to the administration building first and get those papers?
No, stop here, by the reactor equipment building.
What for?
Just stop the truck. I'm going to leave orders for my men to get rid of all equipment which might connect this plant with illegal radioactivity work. We'll go in here and take a quick inventory.
Well, I can tell you what is in there. A container of sodium potassium coolant, heat exchanger, a receiving tank.
Yes, I know, but I don't want any slip-ups. Come on, get out.
It's going to be a job to dispose of all that, and a real shame to destroy it.
It'll just be hidden. A few months from now, I'll set up a plant on another planet. Nobody's going to stop the lady from Venus. I can promise you that. Now, come on.
All right, Miss Bennett. Ivan, stay where you are.
Corey!
Quick, into the building.
Stop!
Quick, open the door. Up the stairs. We can cross to the next building with a catwalk.
There they go, sir. Up the stairs.
Come on, let's get them.
Ivan, open the door of the catwalk. Stop. They're coming up the steps. Stop.
You're cornered. Better come down.
Ivan, those big containers. Roll them down the stairs.
Okay. Better get off the stairs.
Watch it, Commander.
Duck, Hap.
Shall I roll this one now?
Ivan, wait. Don't roll it. Open the valve and let it pour down the stairs.
Huh?
Tip it over and point the valve toward them. Hurry.
Commander, what do you suppose she's up to?
I don't know.
Corey, this drum contains sodium potassium coolant. It's used in atomic breeder reactors to carry off heat from the reactor core.
When it's exposed to air, it will burst into flames. Turn the valve, Ivan.
There it goes. Stand back, Happy.
Now let's see it come up those stairs.
Commander, the heat, it's awful.
All right, Ivan, get that door open.
Yes, Miss Bennett.
Happy, we can't get up through that flaming liquid, and they can't get down. We'll go outside.
Sorry, Commander, you won't be leaving.
She's closed the door.
The electronic control switch is up here. It's no use, Cadet. You can't open that door.
I got this one open, Miss Bennett.
We're leaving you now, Commander. Oh, by the way, there's an automatic fire extinguishing system in here. In a minute or two, water will be sprayed all over that sodium-potassium alloy. And that's your life. Come on, Ivan, we haven't got much time.
Hey, did you hear that, Commander? The sprinkling system will put the fire out. And if it works quickly...
the sprinkling system starts, we're finished.
Huh?
This coolant has to be kept in a closed, airtight system. It burns in there, but when water hits it, it explodes violently. All these containers will blow up.
Commander, we've got to get out of here.
Now, look, there's an electronic hoist. The chain runs up to that pulley fastened to the beam. That hoist will lift us high enough we can swing over to the balcony and get out the way they did. Grab the hook, I'll throw the switch.
Yes, sir.
Get a good grip. I'll hold the chain and kick the switch with my foot.
Hey, it's working, sir. We're going out.
Start swinging. When we're level with the balcony, jump.
Yes, sir. Hey, the sprinkling system. It started to work.
Let's hope the water doesn't hit that coolant till we get out of here. Jump, Happy. Quickly. Out the door across the catwalk.
There it goes. 3 whole buildings blown to bits.
Yes, and Commander Corey along with them. Now, come on, let's get to the ship.
Let's use my ship. It's closer.
Corey! Hold it, Ivan.
Corey, you couldn't have escaped.
But we did, which is something that's never going to happen to a certain lady from Venus. Yes, sir, Commander. When she teamed up with Ivan Ammon, it sure was an evil omen.
We'll be back with an action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol story in just a moment. Jumpin' Jupiter, gang. Here's a 5-star bulletin from Buzz Corey. It's coming over the teletype here in the newsroom of Terra's biggest newspaper, the Outer Space Dispatch. Here, I'll read it to you hot off the news tape. It says, gang, don't take a chance those cold winter mornings. Get a start for the day that keeps you moving. Eat a breakfast that whips you into action. A good breakfast with good hot Ralston, the hot super cereal that helps to supercharge you. That's Instant Ralston, the delicious wheat cereal. Remember, I can't take a chance. I have to get supercharged every day. That's why I eat a good breakfast with Instant Ralston, a breakfast that supercharges me. You can't take a chance either, boys and girls, so my advice to you is this. Get supercharged every day. That's it, gang. That's Buzz Corey's message to you. So do what your commander says. Eat a good breakfast with good hot Ralston and get supercharged. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol story. Buzz and Happy are in the lower shaft of a secret mine on Saturn's 6th moon. As they wade through the water of a partly flooded shaft, sound filters down through the mine.
Happy, listen.
Yeah, sounds like a motor of some kind. It must be back outside the opening.
The mine's pump engine.
Pump? Oh, automatic, I guess, yeah. When the water reaches a certain level, it shuts on.
Hey, wait a minute. Look at the water level against the wall of the shaft. Watch it.
It looks like it's rising.
That pipe. It isn't drawing water out, it's forcing it in. Happy, somebody at the mine opening reversed the pumps. They're trying to drown us.
Be sure to be with us next Saturday for the exciting story, The Last Voyage of Lonesome Lena, when wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot Ralston again brings you Space Patrol! And now, a message from Commander Buzz Corey.
Boys and girls, to donate blood, you have to be at least 18 years of age. But to be a Space Patrol blood booster, well, age doesn't matter. I need all of you, and all of you can join. Our job is to get more people to donate blood to the Red Cross. It's a swell way to help your country, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So how about it? How about joining my Space Patrol blood boosters today?
Space Patrol, an original Mike Moser production starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston and directed by Larry Robertson. Other players were Bela Kovach, Ken Mayer, Virginia Hewitt, and David Duval. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present the new, exciting Space Patrol! And be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. Space Patrol comes to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.